this, right? It's people who make it, less automotive.
Are we ready?
One of the biggest things is getting out those provisions. Like we took them.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Good evening, and welcome to the February 24th, 2026 regular meeting of the City of Troy Planning Commission. Copies of the agenda for tonight's meeting can be found at the entrance to the room, and minutes to prior meetings can be found on the city's website. The meeting will be conducted in accordance with the agenda as presented or amended tonight by this commission.
State law establishes planning commissions. This planning commission is comprised of 9 residents appointed to serve our community. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. Other individuals participating in the meeting include representatives of the city's planning department, city attorney's office, and city's planning consultant, Carlisle Worthman Associates.
If you wish to address the Planning Commission this evening, please come forward when recognized and sign in with your name and address, and then introduce yourselves for the benefit of the commission. Please make sure you address all remarks to the commission and not to anyone else in the room. If you have a cell phone or any device that might disrupt the meeting, please turn it to silent mode or turn it off. And we'll go ahead and ask our recording secretary, Kathy Zarnicki, to conduct the roll call.
Mr. Beekner?
Here.
Mr. Faison?
Here.
Mr. Fox?
Here.
Mr. Hudson?
Here.
Mr. Krent?
Here.
Mr. Lambert?
Here.
Ms. Malala
Here.
Ms. Parakis?
Here.
Mr. Tagle?
Here.
Quorum present.
Okay. Can we, next on the item is the approval of tonight's agenda. Does anyone want to make a resolution?
So moved.
I support.
Seconded by Mr. Faison. Anyone have any issues with the agenda? All right, we're ready for the roll call.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Beekner?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes from our February 10th, 2026 meeting. Do we have anyone moving for the, Mr. Lambert made a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Krent. Any edits, corrections? Okay, we're ready for the roll call?
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Beekner?
Yes.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is public comment for items that are not on the agenda tonight. So if anyone's here to discuss something that is not going to be discussed later on in the meeting, now's the time to come forward. Okay, seeing no one, we're going to move forward to item number 5, which is the zoning ordinance text amendments, file number ZOTA 258, neighborhood node revisions, text amendments, and map amendments or rezonings. Before we begin this item, I want to just sort of give a little lay of the land so we know what's going to happen tonight since there are many people here. We're going to turn it over to our planning department to present the item, and then we will offer an opportunity for the planning commission to ask questions of the planning department. And then after that, we're going to open it up for a public hearing, and that would be the time that you would come forward and we would hear your comments. And then we'll turn it back to the Planning Commission, and I want to remind the commissioners, the way we're going to do it, because we haven't done it in a while, is I'd like to right away have a resolution on the floor so we can begin the discussions. And then as we go and discuss, if we need to make any amendments, we will do them piecemeal along the way, and we will continue to make amendments. And then at the end, when we vote on the resolution, it will be the resolution as amended. Any questions?
Is it 3 minutes for everybody to speak?
Yep. I'll give instructions when the public
Gotcha.
hearing's about to begin. Thank you. All right, I will turn it over. Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
Mr. Fox.
And just to state for the benefit of the public, we are a recommending body on this specific topic. City council will have the final say on anything that we recommend approval on.
That's correct. Okay, Mr. Carlisle, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. And just another point of clarification. As part of this process, there were hundreds of letters that went out to notify neighbors adjacent properties of potential rezoning. I want to reiterate to the public and the Planning Commission, we are not talking about any specific project in any of their nodes. This is simply consideration of text amendments to the zoning ordinance as well as potential rezonings. There is no specific project tonight that's being discussed in the nodes that this commission is discussing tonight. But the process, the Planning Commission has been working on this for a couple of years. A couple of years ago, the Planning Commission and the City Council adopted a new master plan, and in that, there was a heavy focus on the neighborhood nodes. So the intent of these amendments was to really reaffirm and codify what the master plan's intent for the nodes was. And the intent was to serve adjacent neighborhoods, encourage first-floor commercial and upper-story residential, mixed use is a common term we use, promote pedestrian design and open space, and provide a transition that's sensitive to near single-family neighborhoods. In the previous, in the current zoning ordinance review, we did notify a number of issues. One, there was an over-reliance on development-only residential projects. There was a lack of placemaking in mixed-use outcomes. The development scale and massing impacts in poor transitions didn't reflect what was intended for the nodes to begin with, as well as there was concerns with regards to architecture, traffic, and setback concerns. So the purpose of this intent of this whole process was to correct those provisions and address what was contemplated in the master plan. With regards to updating the intent statement, again, the intent is to reinforce that neighborhood nodes are intended to be small-scale, mixed-use centers to serve the neighborhoods. They encourage walkability, public space, active ground floors, and context-sensitive design. They prioritize compatibility with adjacent single-family neighborhoods and provide transition to those. In addition, we added clear language to link the 2024 master plan update with them. A focus of the node amendments was to reorganize the regulating plan. So all these nodes are organized by a regulating plan. Each node has a separate plan associated with it. There are now 2 site types in the nodes. Now we are adding a 3rd site type that gives us a little more context and provides for smaller development options within the nodes. These site types are determined by lot size, location, and context. They are narrative details in each of these that explain the role of each site type within the node, the regional visibility intent for the neighborhood nodes A's, and the transitional function of neighborhood B and C. In addition, within the major change, we removed all street types. So these are all being classified just by site types, not by street types as previously done. And again, we repeated an emphasis on consolidation as a preferred development strategy. As part of that, we updated the site type definition. So there are 3 site types as noted. The largest and highest intensity is a site type A. The typical conditions of those that they're located on the arterial corner, so at the intersection of the major mile intersections. There are large parcels, and they often provide for cross-access between various outlots within the development. Again, these are intended to encourage medium-density residential projects, as well as a mixed use, including upper-floor residential, and these provide for larger destination retail and services. The more common site type is a site type B, and these are what we see in most of the neighborhood nodes. These are intended to be a transitional mixed use and commercial designation. It's the most diverse site type because they are the most plentiful as well as in the most variety of contexts and without the city. But they're really intended to serve for small and medium retail and service sites. It does allow for residential at-grade or attached formats. And again, these really focus and emphasize on the transitional buffers because they're often located between residential projects as well as the larger site type A's. Site type C are the smallest site type nodes. These are a new site type that we added. These are at edge of the retail, so really they're really adjacent to B and residential. They are intended to serve for low density residential and low intensity commercial. They are intended to primarily serve as a residential buffer, but they do allow for small neighborhood commercial and add dimensional requirements. They do allow for single family and duplexes. Right now, single family and duplexes is not a permitted use the nodes, and we felt like it was important to add those uses back into the nodes, especially for these small sites that serve as a transition to larger sites. We do note that we had added regulations and standards to modify regulating plan. The Planning Commission may modify site type designation from, say, for example, from a C to B through a public hearing and a site plan review process. The reason this will most likely happen is to encourage lot consolidation. So the intent is to encourage lots that are small to be put together to allow for a larger lot that can allow for a little more transitional use and setbacks from adjacent properties. So it's really put these sites together to allow for those transitions from single-family residential. The modification criteria include a change in the master plan condition, a review of the compatibility with adjacent uses, as well as conformance with the district intent. In addition, it was felt through the Planning Commission as well as the public that we do need to expand the design standards within the neighborhood nodes. So the first thing we did was we clarify how neighborhood node height is calculated. We didn't change what the height is, we just simply clarified how we calculate that requirement. As well as we spent a lot of time talking about the entrances and the orientation of the buildings. We know that the primary entrances for all commercial buildings and office buildings must directly face the street, as well as mixed-use buildings must face the street. However, there is a requirement that they have to have separate residential and non-residential entrances for mixed use. And lastly, there was a large discussion on whether residential uses in the nodes have to have a front-facing entry. Due to security and other reasons, the Planning Commission felt that there should be a waiver process that's allowed to be considered with regards to residential projects. So we've added that as well to the standards. In addition, we spent a lot of time discussing ground story activation and transparency. The intent, again, is to provide for transparency along the front elevations, but there are certain uses that may require us to waive the standards. Historical or unique buildings, as well as residential safety and privacy concerns. And again, we just clarified what the transparency alternatives that could be allowed as well. So we spent a lot of time talking about uses in the neighborhood nodes. And the intent was to get back to what the master plan intended for the nodes, which was smaller scale uses that are primarily intended to serve the neighborhoods. So we reorganized the use categories to focus on that type of initiative. In the current neighborhood nodes zoning regulations, drive-throughs are permitted, as well as auto service uses, gas stations, car washes, et cetera. We intentionally pulled all those uses from the neighborhood nodes, so those will not be permitted in any neighborhood node moving forward. In addition to that, we eliminated a number of unintended uses. There were large office complexes, large retail complexes, places of worship, other institutional uses. We've also pulled those from the neighborhood nodes too, because those really aren't intended for what the nodes are supposed to be for. As noted, there are some very small sites. We reclassify those as site type B or site type C. The only really use for many of those sites is best to be served as a single-family use that provides a transition to adjacent residential properties. So we added residential as a use in site type C. We also heard a lot from the residents that were very strong concern about these large residential-only type developments in the nodes. The largest site types, as I noted, was site type A. What we've done in site type A is say that you cannot have a residential-only project in these large sites. Instead, you have to do residential only if it's part of a mixed-use project. This would ensure that we intend to have mixed use in the area, as well as eliminate those large single-use residential projects only. And again, we also clarify what constitutes mixed use. That can be both stacked on top, which is typically called vertical mixed use, or horizontal mixed use, which is two different mixes of uses on a site. Lastly, we cleaned in duplication and formatting. There's a lot of cleanup that needed to be made. And lastly, reinforced multi-story mixed use in A, and focused on single-family uses in C. And finally, we did spend a lot of time talking about transitional features. We strengthened and defined the transitional elements with regards to architecture, massing, site features, et cetera. We strengthened the height transitions between uses, stating that you can only be 2.5 or 30 feet max when next to one-family zoning, and 3 stories and 38 feet elsewhere in the nodes. We also added a setback and greenbelt provisions, which require a mandatory 20 to 30-foot setback for buildings and a 30-foot setback for greenbelt along single-family residential. Again, the intent is to provide for greater transition and buffering from adjacent single-family residential. And again, the Planning Commission may deviate from this criteria if there's a need, such as public health, master plan recommendations, or natural features. With regards to site access and parking and loading, We just clarified that the intent, again, is not to provide parking as a primary design feature in the nodes. So it limits the amount of parking along the building line, it eliminates parking along the corner lots, and eliminates parking on double frontage lots. It also reinforced the use of shared parking and parking flexibility to reduce the amount of parking that's provided in the nodes. And lastly, we added additional screening requirements that align with the landscape screenings already in the zoning ordinance for other like uses. I'm going to really, at this point, turn over to Brent here to move forward with this, but I'll just really speak quickly about some of the map amendments that we're considering, as well as node amendments. The Planning Commission spent a lot of time on this. There were multiple steering committee meetings on this and multiple Planning Commission meetings on this. And the Planning Commission and through staff reviewed each parcel, each node parcel by parcel, and went through every individual parcel and reclassified 15 nodes in each parcel with them, whether they be A, B, or C. In doing that, we consider the site context, what's around it, whether adjacent land uses, et cetera, what the traffic and speed conditions are, is it located on a boulevard or not, and lastly, the existing and surrounding development, what's there now and what's adjacent to that particular parcel. With that, we came up with the classification of A, B, and C, again, for every single parcel and node. In addition, we expanded the node from around Maple and John R. We added the southeast, southwest, and northeast corner. This, again, is to provide more context and be similar to the already existing corner of that node. However, we also eliminated 6 nodes. When this was first adopted, there were 21 nodes in the city. During the Planning Commission review, the Planning Commission felt that there were 6 of them that really did not fit the intent of the node, especially when we considered the update to the master plan. The reason why the Planning Commission had made a recommendation to pull these was, again, those 3 kind of criteria: the site context, the traffic and speed conditions, and the existing surrounding development. The ones that were pulled were mostly along boulevards, mostly had very large parcels with already strongly established uses, were somewhat more buffered from residential uses, and the existing development and surrounding development really just did not lend itself to continue it as a neighborhood node zoning. So instead, the 6 nodes were recommended for rezoning. DeQuinder in 14 was recommended to be rezoned back to IB. That's the industrial and business district. Wiles and Rochester was slated to be rezoned back to GB. Wiles and Livernois was recommended to be rezoned back to CB, RT, and CF. CB is commercial business, RT is residential attached, and CF is community facility. Long Lake and Rochester was recommended to be rezoned to general business and commercial business. Long Lake and Livernois was rezoned to general business and residential attached. And South Boulevard and Rochester was recommended to be rezoned to general business and RT. I will note that in actually reviewing these nodes going back to their to being rezoned to those other uses, it's similar to what they were zoned previously before the nodes were adopted. So this is really bringing it back to what it was previously zoned. So with that, I'll hand over to Director Stavridon to talk more about the zonings.
Just give me a second here. I got it. All right. So, as Ben indicated, we're removing 6 of the nodes from and rezoning them. And I'm just really going to briefly summarize it. Hopefully, you can see this. So this is in your packet, Planning Commissioners. We also, I should have noted earlier, we created a web page on the city website, on the planning page of the city website, and a lot of residents have come to the counter, or they've emailed, or they've called, and they've spoken to myself, or they've spoken with JR here, and he's directed people to the website. A lot of people have seen that and looked at it, and I think we want to be transparent. We want as much information out there as possible. So a lot of you have already seen this, but again, just a couple minutes to go over these very, very briefly. The first node, this is node A. This is located at DeQuinder and 14 Mile. And again, on the website, you see the property identification number, the address, what the classification is today, which is node, and what we propose it's going to be. This node, again, it's at 14 Mile de Quinter. We're proposing it be zoned IB, Integrated Industrial and Business. All the property surrounding it on the Troy side is zoned IB. It was all zoned IB prior to 2011. When we created the neighborhood node, we really haven't seen much development in node type development here, and we felt it was appropriate to rezone this back to IB. The next one is at Wattles and Rochester. That's presently known as node G, and we propose that entire node be rezoned back to GB. I should note the NN Neighborhood Node Zoning District was created in 2011, and prior to 2011, this property was zoned GB, so it's going back to what it was prior to 2011. Again, Ben was mentioning some of the reasons for rezoning this. We walked a number of these nodes, and this is two very busy roads here. They're boulevard intersections. It's not integrated. It can take you two signals in order to cross over one of those boulevards. No one's gonna live there on the corner because of the traffic we felt. It's very automotive oriented in nature, and it just seemed to lend itself to rezoning back to GB. That was Wattles and Rochester. Wattles and Livernois. This is a little bit different. To be consistent with the master plan, the Planning Commission felt this was the best path forward. It's a number of different zoning districts outlined in red. This is proposed to revert from neighborhood node to a combination of CB, which is community business, CF, which is community facilities, and RT, which is one family attached, which is right here. And that property was relatively recently approved for attached residential. So to be consistent with the approved site plan, RT was the most appropriate zoning district. Next is Long Lake and Rochester. Similar reasons, very busy road, boulevarded, and the proposed zoning districts are general business with the exception of two community businesses here on the corner. Long Lake and Livernois, reverting back to GB. Again, this is what it was zoned prior to 2011 with the exception of this development here, which is attached residential, and it was most appropriate to change the zoning to RT, so it's consistent with the approved site plan. South Boulevard in Rochester. Nino Savaggio's here. Planning Commission felt that this is a planned unit development here that's controlled by a PUD agreement. The feeling was that this node hadn't really evolved and wasn't really going to change, so it should revert back to previous zoning, and this corner lot here should be community business, which is relatively less intense commercial and office. Maple and John R. has proposed rezoning two neighborhood nodes. So this piece here on the corner, which is office, these parcels here is going from general business to neighborhood node to be consistent with the neighborhood node, which is presently on the northwest intersection. Crooks and Wattles eliminating these two parcels here from the neighborhood node classification to be consistent with the master plan. And this one's kind of interesting here. These two parcels here are, these are two single-family homes that are presently zoned neighborhood node. We did a little bit of digging, and we found out that in 2017, the owner applied for a lot splits to create two parcels, which there's no law against creating two parcels in a neighborhood node district. However, they then sought building permits for single-family homes. Single-family homes are not permitted in this district. Building department incorrectly approved building permits for those two homes, so they're now legal non-conforming homes. So if they're destroyed beyond 60% replacement value, they can't be rebuilt. And I would imagine there's also some financing issues with lending institutions. So we're going to do these property owners a favor. We're going to rezone these to single-family residential so they can rebuild the houses and eliminate the nonconformity. That's a brief summary. I just wanted to, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I just wanted on the record that we show this and also make it clear to the audience and those watching on TV. This is available online right now if you want to do a deep dive and look at this. So,
Thank you. That concludes the presentation?
yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for our planning department? Mr. Lambert?
Mr. Savin, just as a follow-up to what you were just talking about, I know we received several emails forwarded from your department where residents were concerned about some of these neighborhood nodes going back to their original zoning. And I know, looking at the addresses, several people were concerned about the one near Waddles and Livernois. Probably the one they were most concerned was the RT, going to RT from neighborhood node. What's the impact of the people living adjacent to that particular piece of property with it going to RT from neighborhood node?
Well, there's an approved site plan that the developer has every intent to develop. So I don't see the impact. It was vetted through the public vetting process. It's going to be residential, and it's not going to afford the developer any additional rights that he presently has. It's the appropriate zoning district for that parcel.
Right, thank you.
And I think my understanding of that parcel is that it was neighborhood node, and then we approved that building, and now that we're reverting it back, we wanted to give it a zoning that would be consistent so we wouldn't create a nonconformity.
Correct. We wanted to be as close to conforming as possible.
And Mr. Lambert, we approved that in 2023.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
a while.
Mr. Fox?
So you explained that one of the big changes here is that it's going to eliminate, was it car washes, gas stations, like auto-centric uses will be eliminated from the
Yeah,
nodes?
all auto-centric uses, including drive-throughs.
So then the couple of gas stations, car washes that have been built on the nodes, those are just going to be non-conforming, and we kind of just have to wait until, in theory, someone buys them and wants to redevelop them?
They'll be treated like any other non-conforming in the city
Okay.
that fall in the non-conforming section of the zoning ordinance, and they can remain in perpetuity, but if they make improvements, they have to come into compliance.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
In case it wasn't made very clear, we heard loud and clear from the neighbors that, residential neighbors, that they were concerned about the impacts of neighborhood nodes. So we took steps in the past to reduce the height and increase the setbacks. And we did a deep dive on the uses, and we were more restrictive on the uses, some of the more automotive type uses that have more of an impact. And the verbiage that was proposed for the nodes is really, one of the intents is to make it less impactful on residential neighbors.
Anyone else have any questions? Ms. Malala Holly?
Page 31 of our packet, where you have the table, Mr. Carlisle, I noticed that on that table, you have something like a P2 and a S3 mentioned against, let me get to that page, sorry. Hold on. Okay, there. You have under mixed use, you have P/S3 mentioned, and under residential multifamily, you have a P2 mentioned. I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, so it just classifies under which condition those can be a permitted use. So residential, multifamily in site type A, again, those large site types are only permitted as a residential component if it's part of a mixed-use development. That's what that footnote 2 means. The footnote 3 is with regards to mixed use, and it simply states that if one portion of a mixed-use development requires a special use, then the entire mixed-use development requires a special use.
So, thank you for the clarification. So after taking a look at this, I probably will need a little bit more clarification on when somebody were to combine parcels, say parcels B and C. And now, how does zoning apply when that happens? And how would you guide the applicant considering the other uses that exist in that, in the surrounding area.
So the Planning Commission ultimately has the jurisdiction to either approve a change in a site type, so going from a B to C. So we would treat it like we would a normal rezoning, where we would consider the standards under which you would consider a site type reclassification and determine whether or not we felt that the reclassification was justified or not. We would anticipate, similar to how we see a lot of rezonings in the city, that a site plan would come with the request for a change in the site type. Under that condition, then, we would review it as if the rezoning was part of that submittal package, or the reclassification was part of the submittal package, and if you didn't approve the resubmittal, or the reclassification, you wouldn't approve the site plan. So it's similar to how we would treat a rezoning that comes through this commission.
Just a quick
Go ahead.
clarification on that. I'm just trying to wrap my head around these combining parcels kind of a thing. So it is not essentially based on the acreage or the space that is there for them to build when they combine parcels into something like a parcel A, where we do allow mixed use and attached housing. So I'm a little not understood on what happens if that space is restrictive or constrictive. B and C parcels combined together, and now they say, okay, we would like to have something like a parcel A here, and we would like to propose a particular development.
So just to be clear, there's a provision for consolidation and reclassification already in the neighborhood node ordinance. The current language does not give good guidance for the Planning Commission to consider under what factors they should consider this reclassification option. So what we've done is added standards that the Planning Commission should consider similar to how you would consider rezoning for a reclassification. Context of the area, adjacent land uses, ability to serve the property, master plan compliance, et cetera. Those are the standards under which you would consider. So when a development comes in that's seeking a reclassification, we would, again, apply those standards to it to determine if it is appropriate to reclassify or not. What often happens with the reclassification or consolidation is you're putting multiple parcels together, you have a much larger development area you can do more things with, but in turn, you can also have larger area to protect and provide additional buffers and transition to adjacent properties. So that's why we do encourage consolidation. And as part of the review process, as part of a consolidation process, the applicant can request a reclassification, which the Planning Commission would consider as part of their request.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Lambert, or Mr. Trent, go ahead.
Sure. One of the residents submitted a letter regarding what was the old classification of Livernois and Waddles. It was H, now it's not going to exist, it disappears. And that person was concerned that reclassifying back to what it used to be from a neighborhood node to RT would create more congestion. Now, if it was left at neighborhood node, would we allow retail, office, all those other high-use things, those?
Yeah, so are we specifically talking about RT or the entire node?
The entire node, but he only mentioned RT,
Yeah.
so I just.
So again, the RT portion, you said Waddles and Livernois.
Correct.
The RT property on Waddles and Livernois there was an approved site plan for attached residential on that parcel. So that's going to move forward. It's going to be used as residential. So by vacating the node, we want to rezone it to something that's relatively comparable to the use that is going to be constructed there and is going to be there a long time. It made the most sense to rezone it to RT. The rezoning is not creating congestion. The Planning Commission approved the site plan. It's going to get constructed. The zoning to RT is not adding to that. It's an approved project.
Yeah, well, I just wanted, so that person knows that he was evidently against rezoning and he wanted it neighborhood node. And he just needed, I think, your help giving clarification of the issue may answer his concerns. Thank you.
I also just want to add on that, just by rezoning or reclassifying sites from neighborhood node to non-neighborhood node does not automatically mean that there's going to be greater development, more traffic. These are all done on a site-by-site basis. You can still do commercial, office, other types of what some would classify as more intense uses in the neighborhood nodes. So simply just taking them out and putting them into another zoning designation does not automatically mean that there's going to be these developments that are much more impactful than what could have been done under the neighborhood node. It's just more to put the zoning in context with the existing land uses as well as what the master plan calls for that area.
Thanks.
Mr. Lambert.
Can I ask one quick question about wording? I know we struggled with the whole area for residential use for front entrances, and under, I believe it's section E1D, residential use, it talks about determining that a sufficient criteria have been met. I guess maybe more for Ms. Dufresne, is the word sufficient one that we can stand on when we're looking at whether or not to waive that front entrance requirement? It's on page 26.
Mr. Lambert, do you really want to open this can of worms? You know how I feel about this change. I don't like the change. So, I don't know really how to answer your question because I don't really like the whole thing.
Can I give you a non-attorney's opinion on this? We went down this line of questioning for a PUD where we talked about what number it should be. I think the word sufficient. We've got 9 appointed members on this board. They've all got different backgrounds, educations, experiences, opinions, political leanings, et cetera. I think each and every one of you is going to make a determination whether it meets a sufficient number of these, and they may be different criteria, but it gives the ability each individual planning commissioner to make a determination on their own whether it meets a sufficient number of the standards. That's my non-legal opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Can I give a non-legal opinion too? That terminology and the way that's written, sufficient criteria has been met, is a very standard zoning term that we use in a lot of ordinances. So it's not unique language to what we're trying to achieve here.
Okay, thank you.
And I think at the end of the day, we'll know it when we see it, sort of thing, right? I mean, if there's 9 of you up here, and you'll have the discussion, what is sufficient, what isn't sufficient, and you'll make a record, and that's what's important, is making sure that we make a record and everyone has an opportunity to be heard on the issue if and when it comes up.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for our planning department at this time? Okay, so we are going to open up the public hearing. I do want to give a few rules and comments before you do. Everyone will have up to 3 minutes. You don't have to take all 3 minutes. When you come in, please sign in and then introduce yourselves. If there are people here who are commenting on the same issue, and then if you'd like to, you can have one person express and share your concerns, and then if they identify themselves as representing a group, I will ask by a show of hands how many people are here with the same concerns, and we will take note, we'll count, and it'll go into the record, so we have an idea of how many people here have those concerns, so you don't all have to come up and provide us with the same concerns. I'm not discouraging anyone, everyone's entitled to come up. I do want to let you know that I did ask the planning department in advance to forward us all of the emails, so we'd have them before we arrived tonight, and we received over 20 or up to 20, and almost all of them were received by us by 2:30 yesterday. So we've all had over 24 hours to review the emails. So we appreciate you getting those into us, and we appreciate the planning department for getting those to us so we could read them in advance. So I just wanted to put that out there. Also, I do want to remind the Planning Commission that the primary focus of tonight, beyond, trying to come up with something to recommend to City Council, is to listen to the public comment and the public hearing tonight. It's extremely important to the process. We've been very transparent in this whole process thus far, so I don't want to drop the ball now. This is the opportunity that the community has after all the work we've done to put together the verbiage for the zoning ordinance, for them to come and provide feedback publicly. So this is their opportunity. So I think it's really important that we all listen carefully and consider everything they've said, and we can make any adjustments at the time that we discuss if we feel that any need to be made. So without further ado, I'm going to,
Madam Chair,
yes, please, go ahead.
One request too would be is if you have a concern about a particular node, let us know what node that is and what changes you'd like to see, because that helps us focus on what that particular node change you would like to see made.
That's great advice. And if you don't know the letter, don't worry about it. Just give us the crossroads. And so we generally know what you're talking about. We've spent hundreds of hours between the subcommittee and the planning department and literally years on this. And, we're not claiming it's perfect. We've done what we believe is the best, and we're anxious to hear what you have to say. So we'll go ahead and get started. We won't start the 3 minutes until you've introduced yourself. Mr. Savinant's going to keep the time. There's a green light. A yellow light says you have 30 seconds left, or is it a minute left? 30 seconds?
It's one or the other.
We'll find out quickly.
Find out.
When it turns,
Yeah, and then red, I will be cutting people off because there are many people here. And again, if you guys want to combine, just let me know, and I'll take a show of hands so not everyone has to repeat. Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. You can just come up as you would like.
Good evening. My name is Zaid Arabo, representing one of the owners over on the corner of 18 Mile and Rochester. I believe the current zoning is NNA, and we are 801 South Adams Road, Suite 212, Birmingham, Michigan 48009. Currently, the zoning is NNA, and I believe the proposal is to take it back to GB. We are in total agreement with the planners for all the reasons that they mentioned tonight, but mainly because of the high traffic and the speed of traffic. We want to propose a possible drive-through, but an outlot. With the current zoning, we're not able to propose it or even go in front of planning because it doesn't allow for parking between the street and the property we're trying to, add on to the existing beautiful shopping center that he just purchased a few years ago. The owner was kind enough, I believe about a year ago, for a nominal, very generous fee, to sell a portion of his property, I believe 27 feet, to the city in regards to their vision to widen the road or do something eventually with the road. So he's been a willing partner with the city, and we are in support of this transition back to GB.
Thank you very much.
I have to say, thank
Great.
you.
Did you sign in?
Yes,
You
of
get
course.
bonus points for being on green when you're finished. Just kidding.
Madam Chair, I believe the yellow light sum up is with 1 minute left.
With 1 minute, okay. All right. You guys can just keep on coming up.
Good evening, everyone. Deborah Lazecki, Troy Corners. Troy Corners is not just another intersection. Square Lake and Livernois includes narrow two-lane roads, homes positioned within and substantially near road right-of-ways. There are more than 1,700 students and faculty within a quarter-mile walking distance of the corner. In addition, the city owns 3 undeveloped parcels designated as parkland, 1 parcel to the east and 2 parcels to the west of the intersection. They are existing public assets. Activated thoughtfully could anchor a true walkable village environment. We have multiple surveys and even the state of the city that has shown demand, and Troy Corners has the physical and strategic ingredients to fulfill the intent of the master plan for Node L, Walkable Village. If planned intentionally, Troy Corners could become a defined district with cohesive architecture standards, ground floor retail activating the street, resident above to support small businesses, and protection for homes and properties located within or near the road right-of-way. Our concerned recent ordinance changes added attached residential zoning could result in purely residential build-out, missing the village vision entirely. As currently written, a developer could construct 100% attached residential with no requirement for retail or commercial activation. At the same time, Troy is addressing vacant office buildings and underutilized commercial properties across the city. We are seeing thoughtful re-envisioning efforts, including approved residential conversions and the ongoing North Troy zone work focused on multifamily demand. These efforts demonstrate that the city understands housing demand and is proactively addressing it. Troy Corners presents a different opportunity, not just housing, but identity. We respectfully request Planning and Council define Node L as a small-scale village overlay or a Troy Corners village zone. Establish clear placemaking standards specific to Node L that prioritize small-scale mixed-use development over residential-only buildings. Align zoning and ordinances updates to mixed-use first-floor retail site. Type B allows mixed use but does not require it. This is an opportunity to create Troy's first true walkable corner, not by accident, by design. We respectfully ask that you take a deeper dive during ordinance updates. We sincerely appreciate each one of you, and we respectfully ask that Node L be shaped intentionally as a walkable village to ensure Troy Corners becomes the placemaker envisioned in the master plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next person can go ahead and make their way up.
Excellent utilization of time, 13 seconds left, perfect.
I tried.
Hope mine will be short. I'm Phyllis Shad. I live in the Laurelwood subdivision, Long Lake and John R. We have the first 2 homes in our subdivision, and we have a request that they change from neighborhood node to R1C. And I'd like to know why.
Okay, thank you.
You said John R. and Long Lake?
Yes.
Thank you.
Node L, coming at you. Hi, my name's Lisa Williams. First of all, I want to acknowledge the significant work you guys have done as Planning Commission into revising neighborhood node ordinance. Long, detailed process. Thank you so much for doing it. Our request tonight is not to reopen the entire ordinance, but just to consider whether Node L warrants a more tailored approach. Across Troy, we're seeing substantial growth in attached residential only, including the village of Hastings that will be coming up in that node. And what makes Node L different, historic crossroads, the schools that are going up, 1,700 students and staff, the 2 city-owned parks, one across from John's Market and one from Niles could be developed, something special. So it's a rare opportunity for a pedestrian-oriented, mixed-use village center. And we appreciate that the ordinance references that village scale intent for Node L. Our concern is ensuring that this intent is supported by enforceable activation standards in the core. As currently written, the ordinance allows residential-only development in the core area, and we understand that commercial uses are also permitted, but our concern is that they are not prioritized or kind of required. So we feel like without a baseline activation standard, the default outcome can still be entirely residential. So we hope that you ensure an active pedestrian-oriented ground floor uses along Livernois and Square Lake. So, zoning sets the default outcome. Master plan provides vision, site plan review can refine details, but zoning determines what is fundamentally allowed. So we're simply asking that the intent default for Node L reflect the village intent already described. So, that we're not asking to prevent development, we're asking to provide clear, predictable guidance so that when development happens, it supports the long-term vision for this corner. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, members. My name is Vinay Kotagi, and I'm a resident of Old Creek. It's on Wattles Road between Livernois and Crooks. So this is regarding the number 6 proposed Wilshire Center. So I am new. This is my first time. I'm learning a lot of things.
You know what, I'm going to stop you right there. That is the next item. We're
Okay.
still on number 5.
I'm
So
sorry.
if you don't mind waiting and
Yes.
coming and speaking when we open that.
I agree.
No, no problem, no problem at all.
There will be, public
There-
comment.
Yeah, you'll have an opportunity when we discuss that.
Understood. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Hi there. I am Ann Coleman. I'm here speaking on Neighborhood Node L. I think I might repeat some of the things that my previous neighbors have mentioned. But I want to first of all say thank you for the forward-thinking work done on the node language. I know that it's a lot of work, and a lot of you are volunteer, most of you
All
are
of us.
volunteer, all are volunteers, yeah. So my deep appreciation for that. And I want to say that I appreciate the breaking down of the site types and the setbacks with respect to the adjacent R1B. I do believe that that will have a positive impact on me as an adjacent homeowner. I'd like to just throw out, as a layperson, with all due respect, some specific ideas for some specific languaging, if it's possible, to create more specific ordinance language for our node. My ideas for specific language come from the vision, I think that some of us, many of us have talked about, where this corner becomes a walkable village-type feel corner. We're never going to have a downtown, I know that. But my specific ideas also come from the fact that I eat, sleep, work, gather, and play at this corner. I do it all. So first of all, I'm wondering if we can state that the site type cannot be combined so that transition from single-family home attached units to R1B remains. We know currently that there is a single owner of the northwest corner that includes both B and C. So it's, okay. Second, language that states that retail is a primary purpose, or limiting that portion of the, limiting the corner to 2.5 stories or 30 feet. Third, that green space trees be named as a canopy coverage or height maturity, something like this, as the indigenous trees of the area have a very different environmental impact than shrubs and ornamental trees. And there's fancy language to go with that, but 4 is to include a sidewalk standard. The northwest corner has no sidewalk running north and south. So if, that would be fantastic, my thoughts. But part of the vision is to not try and build something not try and build a downtown, but to keep a reflection of what was originally there, which was open space farmland. But as my neighbor said, we want to keep it walkable and connected, and we have 2 parks or 2 parcels of land at the end that can be parks that connect up, and I think it would be beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak tonight?
My name is Dave Borlis. I'm talking about the corner of Long Lake and John R., I guess. I own 2 parcels there, one on Long Lake, one on John R. And I understand the change with taking out the automotive or whatever, even though I operated 5 automotive centers at one time. I understand the concerns. The drive-through part of it, If you're talking about a car wash, yeah, maybe, but if something was constructed in the business district, let's say on John R., you know, a drive-through coffee or whatever, something like that, with the depth of the property and everything else, there's plenty of room for a drive lane or whatever you want to call it, for a stack-up, I call it a stack-up or whatever. And I don't see why that has to be exempted out. I feel sorry for the properties to the south of me on John R. because they've been trying to sell that stuff for a long time. I once had a PUD for all 10 acres of it there, and at the cost of $300,000 plus. We finally got the PUD coming through, but that was in '07, so you know what happened in '07. So, I mean, and the property has been for sale for many years, and I still can't recover the cost of the property that was paid out back in '06, '07. So I'm curious on the NN going to this now, I guess it's a B, I guess it's considered B property. On the NB, because of the depth of the property, it doesn't leave a lot of usage to be able to use the depth of those two parcels by itself. And then the other properties are now not as a B, so they, or not as an NN, I guess is what they were. It's going to be awful difficult to adjoin or act, you know, put them together. So that's where my concerns are. I mean, it's been on the market for 20 years, so I mean, it's not that it's new on the market, and I know it's what's tied up into it, so the recovery isn't there, and that's, I just got to live long enough to maybe recover it, but I doubt it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir, would you please sign in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll ask you to sign in first, so that way I don't forget.
Good evening, my name is Rajiv Tiwari, and I'm concerned about Wattles and Rochester area. Just our neighborhoods, most of the neighborhood has emailed several of them. And we just supposing since it's a residential, we want to have that since business will bring a lot of, chaos, privacy and safety issue will be for us. Since directly our backyard will be facing that, and our privacy and safety will be big hazards. So that's our concern. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Sign later?
Yes, please sign in.
First now?
Yes, go ahead and do it first, because then I forget to remind you.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Vasudeva Gupta, and I am here for the node H, that is Wattles and Livernois. And thank you for acknowledging that you all have already received a lot of letters, and thanks for acknowledging. Having said that, what we are seeing is that one of the church building is becoming a big residential community, and there is a car wash has come, and this Wattles and Livernois is one of the cross section which leads to a lot of the school districts. So the Troy, especially this place, is a good balance for the school and residential, and we are welcoming the businesses and the residential that has come already. We would like to keep the current balance. So the residents are asking what else representation we can do to keep the current status as is, now that already some residential things have come. So what else we need to do? Educate us to keep it as is.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Schroeder. I live at 5245 Berwick. I am here relating to Node M, which is the Long Lake and Livernois node. And specifically, I am a little bit concerned about the rezoning of the neighborhood node to general business. I actually specifically emailed a question to the Planning Commission asking them why or what businesses, what the intent of the rezoning from neighborhood node to general business, what the need for that was. And the only response I got was that the quote intent, or the development in line with the intent of the nodes did not take place. I don't know what that means. Specifically, my house actually directly abuts the Kroger, if you guys are familiar with that, right at that. So my property line actually directly touches that Kroger, as do my neighbors as well. And I'm a little bit concerned if we change that from neighborhood node to general business, what that will mean as far as the existing development versus future development. One of the issues I have is, you know, are we going to be increasing the height of the maximum height of the building? One of the things I understand to be true with neighborhood nodes is that they're limited to a certain height requirement, and that could potentially, if that increases the height, that could actually overshadow the properties, both mine and those of my neighbors. But in addition, it can create additional noise if it's auto or whatever other uses there are. So as it stands, I would generally be opposed to this change because I don't see, A, the need for it, and B, I can only see downsides in the change. One other thing I would mention, specific to the addresses 31 through 125 of East Long Lake, which again is that plaza with the Kroger in it, it's very well developed. So I'm not sure that there's a need for that specific change. There's all those businesses and all those facilities are filled. It's actually a very thriving area. So I guess my one concern is, why do we need this change when it's already doing well? So I would prefer it remain neighborhood node, or at least that we consider additional restrictions on height and or usage if we're going to change the general business. But to be honest, I think the neighborhood node is perfect as it is for that specific area. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kalyan. I live on Glazer Drive. It's by Long Lake and Rochester. My concern, and a lot of us over here, we share similar concerns about the change of the zone from NN to GB at the Long Lake and Rochester cross section. I echo some of the comments that the person who was here earlier before me, what the same concerns that he had. In addition to that, we also already know that the cross-section, that specific cross-section is very traffic intensive, and now changing it to a GB could invite a large box store or like a Home Depot or something, and that eventually can increase the traffic, and we already are seeing how challenging it is, and we want to oppose this change from NN to GB for that reason. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think I saw someone raise their hand. Yeah, did anyone want to raise their hand to agree with that gentleman?
Yep. Is anyone here opposed to the change at the Long Lake and Rochester intersection? By a show of hands? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The record's going to reflect how many hands went in the air?
Two.
Two
Well,
hands went in the
Well,
air.
the speaker and an additional hand.
Good evening, Council. I'm probably going to talk, but I just want to, what is
Did
a
you
node?
sign in?
Pardon me?
Did you sign in yet?
I've been back there.
Oh, on the
Can you sign
paper.
in there real quick? Because, stop the timer real quick. Yeah, just because I'll forget to remind you. So I'm going to try to make everyone do it right up front.
Hi. I'm just trying to get, what is a node and what is what are they, I'm at 17 in Livernois.
This is a public hearing where you can make comment. We're not permitted to have a dialogue with you, so we can't answer questions now. So we're giving you 3 minutes to, up to 3 minutes to talk. But if that's your, if that's your
Well, no,
question, we can address it when.
Well, what I was going to get at, though, is what I signed up for is like, and I've heard the wisdom in the streets here. They've been telling me that this city is becoming overdeveloped, that the condominiums don't have front yards, the bicycle trails have cement walks instead of the old thing, and that, when we used to look at Detroit, when they're doing their rebuilding, they're trying to make their city greener. Here, they're trying to turn it in like old Detroit or something. And a lot of us are really kind of upset about that, to be honest about it. And we think that, some of these yards should have front yards and things like that, and they shouldn't all be jammed up on the things there. It almost looks like it's European or some old world stuff to me. So that's basically all I want to say about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Nagabhushan, and I also have a comment on 6, but we'll wait for it. But I live in a Wattles Creek condominium on the Wattles, south of Wattles, right after the bridge, right?
Yep.
The question here is, I don't know, maybe you guys know, Troy has how many overbridges? Anybody? Just one, right? Just that on 75. Right? It's a single lane, right? It's a single lane bridge. And between the Crooks and Wattles intersection, between the Livernois and the Wattles intersection, there's a single lane, and there's a lot of traffic at Crooks and a lot of traffic at Livernois. And if there is an accident-prone spot in Troy, I'm sure Livernois and Crooks will top the list if it is not a Big Beaver. If you take out a Big Beaver, I'm sure that will top the list. So my only question here is there any concern or, recommendation not to avoid that intersection even more crowded, right? When we come out of the Wattles Creek to make a left or a right, we will have to wait at least 1 minute on a peak traffic. A lot of times we are stuck on the bridge to reach Livernois, right? I'm sure the developers are here who has a deep pocket who can influence people to build, but I'm not sure is anybody concerned about people who are living already paying the taxes for 30, 40 years. So I just wanted to record that as a concern. And I don't think any other road is as much as that because every other road has 2 lanes to a certain extent. But that stretch has a very limited space, right? I see a development at Wattles and Crooks, and I see a development at Livernois and Wattles. And I don't think anybody can promise that traffic is not going to come on that stretch. Unless there is a proposal to make a 2-lane between those 2 intersections, I would strongly recommend not to add any more traffic on that road. That's all. Thank you.
Wasn't that bridge just redone, though? Yeah.
But still, it's a single lane.
It is a single lane. Okay, thank you. We'll indicate another hand. Yep, thank you. A couple hands. Oh, okay, how many hands? How many hands?
Goodness, okay. 7, 8, 9, 10.
16?
I got 17.
17.
Okay. go with 17.
Okay, anyone else?
Can you ask if
Can you have to come up and speak into the microphone.
I already did. Can you request if anybody want to raise hands for Wattles and River Knife?
Yes, that's, yep. I was going to go back and do that for some of those intersections because, is anybody else here to speak or should we do a show of hands for some of these intersections? You'd like to speak? Come on up. No. No worries, take your time.
I just want to say that I was really happy with the presentation. It was very clear that you guys have spent a lot of time on this. Personally, I'm not affected by any of these zoning changes. I do want to say a few things that I resent frequently in these meetings is we often refer to the master plan, and I understand that the master plan is an important planning tool. However, it's not a fixed document and it's not timeless. And I have read it, and in many ways it already is outdated because life moves fast, housing trends move faster, economies, realities move fast, and I hope Troy has the grit to move in the direction that all those realities take them. Last night I spoke with a resident who spoke tonight, whose property is being affected by the rezoning, and what is being proposed is not in line with their vision for their chosen place here on earth. And that matters because most of us, for most of us, this is not an investment strategy, it is our home. I feel bad for the Wiles and Livernois people because I know people who live in that area and they are very unhappy with the overdevelopment that's coming. So all I want to say today is that what I want for residents of Troy is to feel that they get what they bought into when they moved to Troy. I don't know about everybody else, but I did a lot of research before I moved here, and the city has really changed in ways I cannot tell you that I'm not happy about. And I respectfully ask that you evaluate each of these people's concerns and hopefully make modifications to address them. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak tonight? Okay, I'm going to really quick take a show of hands for a couple of these intersections, although I can't remember which ones we already took, but how many people were here with concerns regarding the Wattles in Rochester? Okay, because we received 9 emails, so let the record reflect. I mean, the record, we already have the emails, so.
So there's no additional hands, I'm sorry.
Just one.
Okay, thank you.
And then let's do the corner of Wattles and Livernois.
That was our 17.
So we received 4 emails and then, this was the 17, right?
Yeah, I think this was the 17.
This time around 18.
I got 18 as well.
Yeah, I got 18.
Oh, okay.
But I actually thought that 17 was Wattles and, it was Wattles and Crooks, but, okay. Yes, let's do Long Lake and Rochester. Who had concerns on Long Lake and Rochester? Okay, so 4?
5.
Okay. Okay. And then let's do Troy Corners. 230 on Facebook. 8? 8. Okay, thank you. Did I say Long Lake and John R?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we'll do Long Lake and John R. 3. Okay, thank you. All right. Is everybody here who wanted to speak or be represented by a hand feels that they've been represented? There's someone in the back of the room?
Long Lake.
I didn't say it yet?
I wrote it down wrong. No.
I'm sorry. Long Lake and Livernois. 7?
16.
7. Oh,
They go up and down.
yeah. We'll say 7.
Make it 8.
Make it 8.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? Okay, thank you. We really appreciate the time that you guys spent to come out tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and turn it back to Planning Commission discussion that we've had the opportunity to hear the residents. So hopefully that will lend itself to our discussion. But if someone wanted to propose a resolution to get us started, that would be great.
And the resolution is as presented in the document, correct? Okay.
Yeah, it's on page 9.
Okay.
I'll go for it.
Okay, Mr. Fox?
Resolved. Public hearing zoning ordinance text amendment file number ZOTA 258 neighborhood node provisions. Be it resolved that the Planning Commission hereby recommends to the City Council that Article 5 of Chapter 39 of the Code of the City of Troy, which includes provisions related to the neighborhood node zoning district, including the regulating plan, be amended as printed on the proposed zoning ordinance text amendment. Be it further resolved that the Planning Commission hereby recommends to the City Council that the proposed zoning ordinance map amendments as described in the attachment entitled Proposed Map Amendments, Rezonings, include a total of 90 properties, be approved.
Okay, do I have a second? Mr. Faison will second that, and now we open our discussion. Mr. Fox?
I know I had written it down wrong. I had written a note on Long Lake and Livernois. So that is an intersection that is being converted from neighborhood node to general business. Planning staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but it is my understanding that before the neighborhood node was put in 2011, that site was general business on all four corners, which is what the current, the Kroger and all the things that currently exist were constructed under the general business zoning.
You said Long Lake and Livernois?
Long Lake and Livernois were the Kroger.
Right there. Yeah, before it was, it was more than that. So I believe the gentleman said he stated he lived in one of these houses here.
Yeah.
Or behind, yeah.
So the Kroger's been there a long time. The owner's a guy named Paul Chozid. In order to get that Kroger built there, he sued the city in the 70s. And this development is a result of what's known as a consent judgment, which is a settlement resulting from a lawsuit where both parties agree to develop it a certain way. So this site is controlled by consent judgment that basically says they can have that grocery store there and that retail strip center. Any changes to this is going to involve revising the consent agreement and going in front of the Planning Commission and City Council. So it's been zoned GB and controlled by consent judgment for 50 years. There's a lot of heavy lifting in order to change anything on that site. It's reverting back to what it was prior to 2011. I don't know what else to say.
Well, Madam Chair, if I may. And I know that was a concern that popped up in a couple of situations with the conversion from neighborhood node to different styles of zoning. My understanding, at least, was that in every instance where we removed a neighborhood node, the reason why that node was specifically called out was typically because of context, but I think the specific note was brought up that the type of development that the neighborhood node was looking for never happened at those corners. So using the corner that's up as an example, nothing has been constructed within that neighborhood node that was explicitly allowed as a part of what the neighborhood nodes were trying to encourage. So basically, for practical purposes, that corner has just been GB since everything was switched in 2011.
With the exception of the residential development that you see on the south side.
The RT.
RT.
Okay.
And the car wash.
So one,
And the car wash.
yeah, well, and so technically, go ahead.
Yeah, which car washes are permitted in GB.
They are
Again,
permitted.
most of these properties were GB for a very, very long time prior to 2011.
And I think car washes are always special use anyway, no matter where they are. I just want to follow up on what you just said. So basically, because the Long Lake Rochester and the Long Lake Livernois and also the Wattles and Rochester, which are going to GB, basically, they're very established intersections. So the fact that we're changing the zoning has no immediate effect. And the real consideration is that we don't think it's ever going to really affect, because they were basically non-conforming to some extent in a neighborhood node, and now we're just putting them back because we don't believe these establishments are going to change, like the Kroger. But we don't want to discourage places like the Kroger, although the Kroger might be different because it's a consent judgment, but places to not want to improve their building structure, because if they're not conforming and they try to make an improvement, we might say, nope, you got to tear it down and move it right up to the front of the road. And based on what's going on Rochester Road now with the enlarging of the road, which is getting larger, we didn't seem to think that those were nodes anymore where you want to bring the buildings up close. We thought that the building locations were set where they were, and so that was part of our thought process when we went and made those changes to those Rochester Road intersections, really. Who wanted to speak next? Mr. Faison.
I just had a question, going back to the comment that was made, and I think the concern, or a concern that was mentioned, if something gets redeveloped in that GB district, what's the potential impact on the neighbor? So, like, for example, what's the height restriction in a GB district that abuts single-family residential, and is that different than what the node height restriction and setback would be?
It's a great question, and while he looks it up, I was just going to say I had that same thought, but I do believe that our zoning ordinances have all sorts of transition requirements that would not allow the maximum height allowed in a general business. But I'll let Mr. Carlisle answer it.
So the maximum height in the GB district is 3 stories, 40 feet in height. There are some requirements for landscape buffering and some transition requirements. In addition, it would obviously come through the planning commission through a site plan, and you would review it to address a lot of those concerns if and when it does come through the site plan process. That being said, Brent's been here how many, 20-something years? I've been here 15 years. I can't think of a 3-story building built in an existing GB zone property, one in the 15, 20 years since I've been here. So it's extremely rare. It's, I would say, pretty unique to have a 3-story building in the GB, because we haven't seen it in at least 20-something years since we've been here.
Thank you.
That answers my question.
Okay. Mr. Lambert?
Mr. Savin, when some of the citizens came up to ask about their particular location or nodes, I think you may have been taking notes. Were there any that you wanted to respond to at this time, or give you a chance to answer the questions that were asked?
Yeah, one of the questions I had addressed in the presentation, it was for John R. Long Lake. It was for these two sites up here that are proposed to be rezoned to R1C, one family residential. As I indicated earlier, the owner of the property sought a lot split in 2017. It was approved because it complied with the Land Division Act. Then the owner sought building permits for 2 single-family homes, which should not have been granted because the underlying zoning was a neighborhood node. The houses are there now. They're single-family homes in a single-family residential neighborhood. We want to protect the property values of the neighbors. We also want to recognize that these are single-family homes, and if they're destroyed beyond 60% of the construction value, they can't be rebuilt without a variance. They also may have financing issues. So to do the right thing, we should rezone these 2 homes to single-family residential. It's kind of a no-brainer. That was one question. One person asked, what is a node? A neighborhood node is a zoning district. I'm not familiar with any cities in any municipalities in Michigan that have a similar zoning district. It's very unique to Michigan, but it's a zoning district just like single-family residential or light industrial. This happens to be what's called a form-based zoning district. The neighborhood node presently is located at 21 intersections of major mile roads in Troy. Form-based districts are districts that permit a wide range of uses, but there are some form-based standards that they must adhere to, including building placement, we want them generally closer to the road. We don't want parking in front of the buildings. We have minimum transparency requirements, et cetera. That's what a neighborhood node is. Okay, can I talk about Square Lake in Livernois?
The Troy Corners?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
This is a longer response, I think. So, three people spoke, Deb Luzecki, Lisa Williams, and Coleman. The three of them I've come to know and come to like a lot. They're very respectful and very kind when I talk to them. They're very involved, and they've attended our first meet and greet with the city manager. I was there, and those three were there. I got to know them a little bit, and they're very passionate about this intersection. So what I say now is very respectful of their efforts, and I'm being constructive. So don't take this as criticism in any way. But I disagree personally. I don't vote, but I personally disagree with the notion of hitting the pause button on this, and I've got a bunch of reasons for that. I'll share my opinions. One of the reasons where we amended the neighborhood nodes is, I mentioned earlier, is protecting neighbors, residential neighbors. Presently, we're all on Facebook. We all watch the news. There's some land uses out there that are in the news a lot. Data centers, gas stations, car washes. These are all in the news. These are all permitted in site type A in the neighborhood nodes. We're pulling these out. So we want to pull these uses out because they're not good fits in these districts. So right now at the northwest corner of Square Lake and Livernois, a data center, a gas station, or a car wash is permitted by special use approval, but they're permitted. We want to protect that node and get rid of them. So I'm not saying their idea of creating a zoning district or an overlay district is a bad idea. That's not for me to decide. But I think hitting the pause button, putting all of these efforts of these properties on hold to create a zoning district that has not even been, we have not got the go-ahead from my boss to move forward on that effort. And how long is that going to take? And we put everything in limbo while we wait for that. We can, if proper steps are taken and it's determined that it's in the best interest of the city, to create a standalone zoning district for this intersection. We could do that, but I don't believe it's in the best interest of the city to hit the pause button in order to do that. Two things can be true. I don't think we have to pause this effort. We put a lot of time into this. The bones are good in terms of protecting this neighborhood. My opinion is what's proposed is generally consistent with what the master plan calls for at this intersection. And if the powers that be, the elected officials, the planning commission, my bosses agree that it's in the best interest of the city to move forward with a text amendment, we can do that. But I don't think we should hit the pause button because I don't know how long it's going to take to do that. It could take 6, 8, 10 months. We don't want to do that, my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I want to stick on Troy Corners at this time and have a quick discussion on that since Mr. Savinov just gave us his opinion. Do people disagree? Do people agree? How do we want to handle Troy Corners this evening? Mr. Crane.
First of all, I agree with Mr. Savinov. We should move forward. But I really appreciate the work that Ann Coleman, Lisa Williams, and of course Deborah Luzecki, who really put their all effort into a vision that I personally hold as what should happen. I think it should somehow reflect the original Troy Corners as a village. If we can do that over time with the different developers, because we can't choose the developer and tell them what to do. They own the property, they come up with an idea, we help direct them to what we'd like to see there, but that's where we're limited. That said, there was one part, let me pull it up, that Deborah mentioned. She said her concern was that recent ordinance changes added attached residential zoning as a late amendment. I'm not sure if that really was a late amendment, but it said would purely could result in purely residential build-out and misses the placemaking village vision entirely. Our is that one B, type B?
It was, I wouldn't categorize it as a late amendment. I think it was
I
part
know
of the
it's not.
process. It
I
was just-
agree.
It was just how we, the
It
timing
was
of how
not-
we did this. It wasn't, and I'm not suggesting
Right.
they're saying it was a bait and switch. It was not a bait and switch.
I know.
But it was just the order of business that we.
Correct, I agree. But I think her concern is that it could all be residential. And what type, it's a type B node, so that allows for retail, correct?
Yeah, it's a type B and type C are all the site types in that node. It does allow for residential, standalone residential use on a parcel, but it also allows for all the other uses we talked about, commercial and other uses. Currently, the node also allows for standalone residential uses, but also allows for drive-throughs and other uses that we don't want. So I think what I'm hearing is that what we have is significantly better, what we're proposing is significantly better than what's here. The question is do we want to pause the process to make it, I guess, better in some of the residents' eyes versus maybe getting this passed and then addressing those issues at a little later date. Because right now, some of the concerns they have already exist, and perhaps there's greater concern of what could go there now than what we're proposing as part of the amendments.
Well, again, just going back to her concern, she said, she basically stated in her letter to us, she thinks as it's currently written, the developer could construct 100% attached residential with no requirement for retail or commercial. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, site type B does allow for residential,
Right.
but like I said,
But it also allows for,
it allows for all the other uses
Retail,
too. It's just,
so it
it's just
doesn't-
what the market dictates.
right.
And currently, the district already allows that as well. I mean, the district allows all residential products as well. So this really doesn't change that. It more defines and eliminates some of the uses that we don't want in the area, and then encourages those other uses such as retail, et cetera.
Thanks.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Thank you. I'm going to be talking about three nodes. I'm going to come to the Square Lake and Livernois one at the end. First, I did hear the concerns of the residents regarding Long Lake and Livernois intersection being changed to general business. But the nature of that node itself, when we looked at it and toured it and did all of our study, it just makes sense. And if even today, if you were to walk that node, you will see it's a very busy intersection. To be classified as a general business would probably be the best. And right now, the uses per se are such that this particular definition that we have come up, to me, definitely fits that particular node. And same is the case with Long Lake and Rochester. It was a very busy intersection, as Mr. Savidan pointed out. We were all touring that node. It took us a while to cross the road to get to the other side, And even now, I hate walking that space. I am an Indian, for those of you who know. We all go to Patel Brothers. It's a very busy place and a very busy intersection. And for it to be classified as general business, again, is probably the best thing to have happen to both of those nodes. But when it comes to Livernois and Square Lake, I just wanted to point out, and I do agree to the residents' comments that they made. Just because the language here says, and I'm reading it, this is on page 12 of our packet, says low-scale single-family attached residential may be permissible if it models the scale and orientation of the single-family attached family neighborhood at the northeast corner of Node E, and we gave a reference of Wattles and John R. there. Just because that it is permissible doesn't always mean that somebody is going to come by and develop just that kind. As is pointed out, there are other uses for that particular site, whether it is a B or a C classification. There are other uses too, and trust me, I for one live so close to that node. I will, as long as I am here on the commission, I definitely will want to keep that village structure going, and if not anything, intensify the usage to be a non-automotive one. And I think when we developed the language for this particular node, I know we went through a couple iterations on that So I would humbly suggest to the residents in that area, including myself who lives very close to that node, to really be understood that we will do our best to make sure that your concerns are kept in the back of our mind when any development proposals come to us, because we are concerned about our neighbors and our friends and our Troy residents, and it's not like we're just going to overlook it after this process is done. It is going to be there very much so, and I, for one, as I said, I live, I walk. Somebody said I sleep, walk, live, run, play. I am also the same. I live 0.5 miles away from that node. So I can assure you, at least from my end, and I know many commissioners are vested in this, to keep that feel of the first historical road and village feel that we've been hearing from you guys about. So just wanted to reassure you on that, because I think that received the maximum amount of hands in terms of support to keep the village feel going. So just wanted to reassure the residents on that.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Mr. Lambert?
I would agree that adopting this, especially for, I guess this is Node L, is a step in the right direction. And I think a suggestion might be to our chair and Mr. Savadan to sit down and do something similar to what we did with the neighborhood nodes, which is maybe creating a special subcommittee or steering committee that would work with the residents at the village corners to address some enhancements to the zoning ordinance to give what they want theirs. But I'm not making that as a motion at this time, but just consideration, so.
Thank you. Mr. Savadan?
So I appreciate the comments about potential efforts to create a zoning district or what have you. The matter at hand is the neighborhood nodes. We've had a public hearing, we're taking action on draft language and proposed zoning amendments to the zoning ordinance. I don't think it's fair to get into a detailed discussion about another item tonight. So that's another discussion for another time. I think we've all actively listened to the comments, not only tonight, but in previous meetings. So we're all paying attention. That we can address whether we're going to move forward with that at a later date. So I just want to make sure we stay on task. But I hear what you're saying.
Mr. Buechner?
Did we address, there was 2 different issues, I think, that had like 17 people asking questions about it. Have we discussed that note or 2?
I know, that's the thing.
It's the Crooks and Waddles and
bridges.
Livernois and
Waddles. Waddle, no, so the issue about Waddles in Livernois, which is, I think, can we put that up? The corner is quite established as is, and I think what was giving people concern is the RT. And I just want to reiterate again, that parcel, which is empty right now, years ago, in 2023, I believe, this commission approved a 9-unit attached housing unit that's approved. It's going to be built any day. I mean, is my understanding. So the rezoning doesn't change anything. All it does is we're just providing the zoning that permits what he's building. I mean, if we change the zoning, that developer is still going to build that. They'll just be non-conforming, which doesn't mean anything unless it gets torn down in 30 years and he has to build again. That's the only time it would become relevant. So really the zoning is to match something that was already approved, just so we don't create a non-conforming structure at that location. I don't know that there was any other concern about that. Mr. Lambert?
And I also wonder if they're mixing it up also with the proposed housing development at the old Zion Church, which is actually going to be at Monday night city council meeting, I believe, is that Mr. Savadan? So
that is correct.
All right.
Okay. That's a good point, too. That's the CF right there?
This is Walsh. It's south of Walsh.
Yeah, that's
Walsh
right.
College.
Yeah, okay.
It's half a mile away.
Yep. It's half a mile away, and it's a completely different, outside of the neighborhood nodes. Okay, thank you, though there might be some confusion on that. Mr. Fox?
Yep, it sounds like, you know, you guys on the planning commission, we're all kind of in agreement about this. I mean, you guys especially have seen me talk till I was red in the face regarding car washes and gas stations and neighborhood nodes. So for me, that's the big driver behind me wanting to get this through to city council tonight. I want to make sure that city council gets a look at this and we can hopefully, you know, remove auto-centric uses from the nodes. So that's me personally, where I'm coming from. So.
I'm okay with voting on the resolution.
Anyone, Mr.
I
Taylor?
have a question about the language that's been proposed. At what point do we discuss more specificity about what's being proposed in here as far as I call it wordsmithing?
Now's the
Is
time, I
now's the
guess.
time?
Now's the time.
Okay. On page 20 of the packet, it's the first page of the amendment, second paragraph from the bottom. There's new language put in there, underlined, land use transitions, increase buffers, and landscape techniques shall be encouraged by these regulations. I would like to see a little stronger word than encouraged. Maybe required would be an appropriate word, as opposed to encouraged, because what is encouragement? We encourage them, but they don't really have to do it. So I would like to see something that's had a little more teeth to it.
Okay.
Okay?
I mean, it all seems to, I would be fine putting something, except for the variation of building height. I mean, land use transitions, increased buffers, landscape techniques shall be required. The variation of building height, we also want to require?
So is the question to be changed, the word encouraged to be changed to require?
Yes.
Right, this is just the intent statement. So if you're gonna add requirements, you're gonna have to.
Oh, yeah, this is just the,
Yeah,
was
you're
like
gonna
out of
have to put forth what the requirements are within the rest of the body of that language. So the intent statement is just a general overview of what the intent of the neighborhood nodes district is. So I would counsel against putting in the word required in the intent statement.
What is the land use transition, increased buffers, and landscape techniques then that either we're requiring or we're encouraging? I mean, I don't see the difference between what you're saying, because we're just encouraging what? To follow up on what you're saying.
Right, that's the whole purpose of the intent statement, is to give an overview of.
But what are they?
Well,
What are
that's a
the-
question for Mr. Carlisle, because I think you added the land use transition increased buffer, that language was added by you.
Yeah, so encourage is the terminology we use now, so that's just carryover from before. And the reason why we added those additional provisions was there was a lot of discussion in the master plan about ensuring that there were land use transitions, so separation and appropriate land uses, increased buffers, both physical as well as landscaping and other means, and landscaping techniques that would help transition development. So we put those specific provisions in there to really be consistent with the master plan. And again, it's the intent statement. It's not a regulatory provision of the ordinance.
So if I was to come in front of this body as a developer, you can encourage me all you want, but if I don't want to do it, I don't have to.
But then they also reflect that there's actually landscaping requirements within the nodes that are
Right.
specified later down in the ordinance.
And are those required?
Yeah.
Well, then I guess I'm confused as to what the point you're trying to make between the two words. If it's in the ordinance, it's
Mr.
in
Taylor,
the required.
I'm fine with the change to required. I don't have a problem with that.
I think I can, yeah, and just to provide a little background, so it's marked up, so the underlines is proposed new language and strikeout is old language. So it's basically, we took some language that we thought needed work. So it used to say, design techniques such as the variation of building height shall be encouraged by these regulations to help separate the node from the surrounding area. That's what it used to say. So we added language to clarify the intent statement of the district. And so to Julie's point, it's not a heavy-handed regulation because it's in the intent statement, but it does have the effect, I think, of kind of punctuating what we hope to achieve by this district.
Okay, so we're going to leave the door open. We hope it happens. We want to encourage it. but it doesn't necessarily happen. I guess I'm not making the connection between what the intent of the word encouragement is when I'm hearing that, oh yeah, we've got these items that are later on in the ordinance that are requirements.
Yeah. So that word's been there since 2011. Whatever the.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there as an opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to leave encouraged, I mean, we can have that discussion down the road when someone wants to challenge. The next page on 21, third from the last line, I'm not sure what the word often, it says these NA8 sites may also often incorporate, can we just remove the word may also incorporate higher density?
Yeah.
Sorry, page 21?
Page 21.
Right near the bottom.
Third line from the bottom,
It starts
starting with these NA sites may also often incorporate. Okay. 23, on page 23, I think it was just a typo.
Mr. Chapman, can I clarify what change you want to make there? I didn't catch it.
Move the word often.
Often? Okay.
Often, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. On page 23, the site type NNC, I think there should be a lead-in of, this is paragraph C or subparagraph C. I think that was dropped. If I'm reading, it's really hard to read this without any indentation as to which follows which, but I think, and if not, that's fine, but I just.
Oh, no, he's right. There needs, like
C.
up above it said B period site type.
Correct.
Yeah, he's right. It needs a C period site type. You following? So on page 21, it says B period site type and then colon B.
22.
Sorry, 22.
Yep.
So he just needs to follow the same pattern.
23 just has to add a C and a period.
C period before the site
Tagel's
type.
winning the spelling bee. I like it.
Never won one before, so maybe.
Good job.
It just
Good
follows the
job.
pattern. It just follows the pattern from.
Okay, keep going.
25, subparagraph EB, or E1B. Primary entrance. The primary entrance for any building facing a street shall be clearly identified and functional. We had a project in here, it was a project at Crooks and Waddles, where we had two streets. We had the primary street Crooks, and then we had the subdivision street, and we had a lot of discussion about where should the entrance be. We talked about security and privacy. And so I guess I'm just wondering, it says for any building facing a street. Well, if we have two streets, or three, if it's at a corner and another, I mean, how is that resolved, I guess?
Well, we added a section for residential use in Part D.
So are you suggesting the word any building come out? I mean, we're talking about any building.
Right, and then we provide sort of like I think
Waiver.
you referred to it earlier, Mr. Savadan, as a waiver. But the planning commission can waive the primary entrance requirement in section 1B, which is what we're talking about. For a residential use after considering the following standards and determining that sufficient criteria have been met. And then these are the criteria that we can consider to waive that requirement for security. And, the list is there.
Yeah, the flexibility for residential is provided later on.
Right, so we did talk about that, because we start with any building, right?
Okay.
But then when you look down at subsection D,
It's coming.
the any building can be waived by subsection D criteria.
All right.
So we did discuss that. Can I point out a typo?
Yeah.
So if there's typos that are non-substantive typos, which it's like a 25,000 word document, there may be one or two, just email us.
Okay.
We don't, just email us. Email me,
As long as it's non-substantive.
non-substantive.
Under the non-residential paragraph, subsection C, item 2, stoop, and this is for non-residential buildings, so I'm assuming it's a commercial building, a retail building. So a stoop or an enclosed or covered porch, I think that's an unlikely option for a commercial building. You have barrier-free laws that require access from outside the building. Are you suggesting in this paragraph that the first floor might be raised up, which no commercial building will ever be raised? It's, you know, be a slab on grade or basement. So I just want to think about that a little bit. I don't think that's a realistic requirement for a non-residential building.
Mr. Tagle, you're focused on the word stoop, right?
And covered porch, the word porch specifically?
Applies.
So that's a carryover from the previous ordinance that didn't differentiate between residential and non-residential buildings. I mean, we can certainly take that portion out.
Well, just from a practical standpoint, I think it's, you know, page 27, and I don't have two anymore. Subsection 3 says, windows for building sides shall be concentrated toward the front edge of the building in locations most visible from an urban open space or public right-of-way. And I guess I'd like to understand why we're locating buildings, or locating windows in buildings we have no idea what the layouts are. I mean, I think we could strike the words to the front edge of the building. So it would read, windows for building sides shall be concentrated in locations most visible from an urban and open space or public right-of-way.
Mr. Tagle, could I ask you to repeat your suggested language one more time?
Okay, strike the word starting with toward.
Okay.
Strike that toward the front edge of the building. So it would read, windows for building sides shall be concentrated in locations most visible from an urban open space or public right-of-way.
Okay. Where I'm going with this is, at the end, we're going to propose an amendment to these wordings, and we're going to vote on it, and then, so we can get it. So I just want to make sure everyone is in agreement and understands what we're doing, okay?
Well, at least so they understand. I don't know if they're in agreement.
Correct, we'll discuss it after. When we're done with this one.
Can we, are we ready to move on? This is a minor point in subsection IC, systems of horizontal and vertical reveals, and I think we should add the word or battens. I mean, it's just another option, but it will accomplish the same thing.
What page?
27.
Reveals or battens, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
How do you spell patents?
B-A-T-T-E-N-S.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to just get a little bit of clarification from Commissioner Tagle. On page 27, when he was talking about the windows for building sites, I don't think I quite caught that, if you don't mind repeating it.
Would you like me to tell you words I struck, or what I'd like it to read as?
No, I would just like for you to explain what changed.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, right now, the way it's written is that it's saying windows have to be at the front of the building, or on the sides. And that's making an assumption that that's where they should be as far as the functionality of the building, or what are the rooms in the front of the building. All I'm saying is, let's put them where they should be to accomplish what we want as far as ventilation or natural lighting, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be at the front of the building. Somewhere on the side wall to accomplish what the intent of that paragraph is. I'm just saying remove the location saying in the front of the building.
Got it, thank you.
You're welcome. stay honest, this next comment, I had talked with Julie a little bit before the meeting. There are some requirements. This is under semi-basement apartments on page 28. We've identified minimum ceiling heights, which is in conflict with state building code. And my question to Julie was, if we do this, which really governs? Is it state building code or is it our local zoning ordinance? I don't know. But it's more of an FYI that we should maybe look into and see what it is.
That's a good catch, and I would imagine we don't want to be conflicting with state.
No, and I don't know the answer offhand to Mr. Tagle's question of which one controls.
So that's a good
I
catch.
suggested maybe Celine might know, but I can look into it as well.
Mr. Tagle, do you know what the state code?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
In commercial, it's 7'6", and residential, it's 7 foot in certain rooms. I mean, there's, you know, a bathroom or a closet or something can be something different, but in habitable rooms, commercial says 7'6" minimum, and I'm pretty sure it's 7 foot in residential. in
Interesting.
Habitable spaces.
Interesting, okay. So you think that okay, yeah, all right.
So just to clarify on that specific point, because it sounds like the legal team would need to look into how this interacts with state law. For the purposes of the motion that we're discussing, when it comes to recommending this to city council, would we want to word it where we request city staff to evaluate it before city council sees it? That way it's not like, you know, we're saying hard strike it versus.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem with what you're suggesting. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And if we're going to vote on this tonight, I don't know how to put the language in there that would allow us to investigate it and you know, not be in conflict or with state code.
Correct. Go ahead, Mr.
The
Carlisle.
other option is, Mr. Tagle, is to address that is keep language as is, say a minimum of 8 feet from floor to ceiling, or as the building code requires.
State building.
State building code requires.
Okay.
So that would clarify that position.
Chances are, it's not going to become an issue.
Nope.
For a lot of reasons. I mean, 8 foot is such a standard height, but I'm just saying that it's not necessarily what the code allows.
Yeah, and this would cover, you know, 8 feet or as what the building code would require.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, unless the city code trumps the state code.
I doubt that it
Right,
does.
okay.
But I'm not definitive in the answer, but I don't think it does.
So, okay, all right. I think we know what we're going to do
That's a
there.
good catch.
Yeah, great catch. Did you have any more?
Yes, I do, but
Okay, Mr. Buechner, question for Mr. Taylor?
I just learned about a year ago in one of these meetings that there was a motion to vote. It's another word for that, but I'd like to make a motion to vote on this.
Calling the vote, you're saying?
I'd like to call the vote, please.
Know that you have all of your amendments to to the resolution that's on the floor. I don't know that you're ready to call the vote yet, but it's up to you, Madam Chair.
I'm proposing a call to vote. I like what Mr. Tagle's saying, and at the very least, I think the building department should be just looking into those details. But I think we've dissected this for a long time, and I'd like to move to a vote.
I mean,
I guess I'm not sure.
I don't know, Ms. Dufresne, what the rule is, what that means. Usually, I mean, are my hands tied that we have to call the vote? Or do I have discretion to say I'd like Mr. Tagle to finish and then we can vote with as amended?
Frank, respectfully, I think Mr. Buechner's out of order because Mr. Tagle's not done, and I don't know. I don't know that you have, right now, the resolution on the floor is to pass it as
Right.
proposed. So
It's
if
not,
there are-
it's not ready.
You're not ready yet.
Because we haven't completed the discussion yet. So I'd prefer that we not do that.
I understand you want to move things along, and I certainly appreciate that, because we still have one more matter to get to, but because of the way that the motion is on the floor, I don't know that this board is ready to take a vote on that.
I do not believe we're ready to take a vote on that. All right, Mr. Tagle?
One last item, and it's more of a question. Under the same section, the semi-basements, item number 2, question is, we've identified 20% of a habitable floor area must be within access of natural light. How did we arrive at 20%? Is that old language, or is that? I'm not necessarily opposed to it, I just was curious as to how did we, why not 25 or 18 or?
Yeah, I couldn't answer the specifics as to why we get that number.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. Mr. Lambert?
Just one other word, suggested word change, and,
Okay.
you know, if people agree with it and if our city staff says it's okay, going back to the first page in the paragraph that talks about neighborhood nodes should draw people, it says, and this is old language too, I believe it says, will respect the adjacent neighborhoods. I was going to suggest will protect the adjacent neighborhoods, assuming the city attorney, assistant city attorney doesn't object to that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lambert, where, you're back on the
Go to the
intent
very
statement?
first page, page 20, the
Right.
next to the last paragraph. It was actually the one that Mr. Tagle was talking about, some language changes, and the last sentence says, variations, however, will respect the adjacent neighborhoods. I'm suggesting changing respect to protect.
I mean, I'm not going to object to that change, but the whole point of the zoning ordinance is, the neighborhood nodes is to protect the neighborhood. So I'm not going to quarrel with that change, but again, it's, the respect is the language that was there previously, so I don't know why it would need to be changed, because that's the overriding purpose of the zoning ordinance is to protect the neighborhoods. But that's up to your fellow commissioners.
What do people want? Protect
I like
or-
protect, personally.
Put show of hands, protect? Show of hands, respect.
The rest don't care.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't think we resolved the encouraged versus required.
Yeah.
It's a similar type vote, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Show of hands. Who would, we're going to choose between required and encouraged.
Clarification?
Yes.
So if we say required, do we have to then provide further sub-items to it as to what is it that we require?
It's an intent statement.
Then I'm good with required.
Yeah.
It may, okay, who wants require, Mr. Hudson, did you want to add something?
I'm talking to you, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got potential amendments floating around depending on who's feeling good and who's feeling bad. If we're going to move this along, let's take care of the amendments and let's vote on the motion. And I would like to have the specific wording of each amendment before we vote on it, so I know what we're voting on.
Right, that's a good point. I was trying to clump together all of the wording revisions into one amendment, as opposed to doing every single word change as an amendment. And so that's what I was going with. We were going to vote on as an amendment, and then we were going to take one last consensus about the resolution
I
as
don't like
an
the
amendment.
idea of combining two amendments in one to summarize them. I'd like the specific language on both amendments, so I can either vote yay or nay. But if I happen to like one and not the other, it's not gonna work. So let's do it in an orderly fashion.
I do think, given the
Mr.
number.
Tagle seems to be the wordsmith tonight.
Yeah, I think Mr. Hudson's correct, because there could be amendments that some people would vote yes on the resolution, but they don't like. So I think you do need to take, given the number, I think you do need to take them individually. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Then I would ask Mr. Tagle, if you don't mind, start from the top, read your correction. We'll get a quick second and we'll do a quick vote. So everyone, listen up. We're going to move quickly. And please give us the page number. Thank you.
Page 20, second from the bottom paragraph. After the word techniques shall be encouraged, I'm suggesting required as opposed to encouraged. Change that word.
Mr. Krent's going to second it. Ready
Yes,
for
I'll
the?
second that.
That's what I thought you were doing. You nodded
Oh,
at
I'm
me.
nodding, okay,
I
yeah.
didn't mean to be presumptuous.
No, you were right, you're correct.
We'll go ahead and take the roll call.
So the motion was by Commissioner Tagle and support by Commissioner Krent?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
No.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Biekner?
Abstain.
Mr. Faison?
No.
Mr. Fox,
No.
and Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 5 yeses, 3 noes, 1 abstain.
Ms. Dufresne, are you going to comment on the abstain?
Yeah, Mr. Biegner, what's your purpose for abstaining? I mean, you have.
I'm in the middle. We're getting way into
You
the
have a
weeds for
duty,
me.
you have a duty to do an up or down vote. You can't abstain.
I'm a no then.
Okay, thank you.
Did that pass?
Yep.
Mr.
5 to
Biegner is
4.
a no?
So we have 5 and 4. 5, 4, 4 against.
Okay, so it passed. Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Tagle.
Page 21, third line from the bottom, starting with the sentence, "These NNA sites may also often incorporate higher density." I'm suggesting to strike the word often, to read, "These NNA sites may also incorporate high density."
I second that.
Thank you, Ms. Malala Holly. We're ready for the roll call.
You have to give me some moment here.
Yes, of course, of course.
Sorry. Going way too fast for me. Okay. Mr. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
Mr. Biegner.
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Mr. Fox.
No.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krent.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next.
Page 23, add a subsection or
I would argue
That's
that's
a typo.
We'll
We'll
fix the
fix
typo.
Okay.
Because there's also another spelling error. Well, I emailed him.
Yeah.
Page 25, subsection C2. I think we should remove the word, that section that says stoop or enclosed or covered porch under non-residential use. That's subsection C.
The entire number 2.
Yes.
I'll second that.
You ready for a vote?
We are.
Thank you. Ms. Malala Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
Mr. Biegner.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Mr. Fox.
No.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krent.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Motion carries.
27, page 27. The subparagraph 2 near the top of the page, windows for building sides shall be concentrated.
Let's just blossom to 6.
Mr. Hudson, you okay?
I'm sorry.
You're ready for, are you hearing Mr. Tagle? Because we're going to vote on this one next.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, can we start from the beginning and speak a little
All right,
louder if you
on
could?
page 27, subparagraph 3, says, "Windows for building sides shall be concentrated toward the front edge of the building in locations." I'm suggesting to strike the words "toward the front edge of the building."
Does anyone want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, I think we're ready for the roll call.
Can I ask a clarification?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what will the sentence read? Windows for building sites shall be concentrated toward,
In locations, in
Okay.
locations.
In locations.
Most visible from,
got it.
Okay, I think we're ready?
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
Mr. Tagle.
yes.
Mr. Biegner.
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krent.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
27, same page, subparagraph IC, add the word after reveal, system of horizontal and vertical reveals or battens. You add the words or battens.
Second.
Mr. Faison seconded that. Questions? Ready for the roll call.
Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
Mr. Biegner.
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krent.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Last one was, I would ask Mr. Carlisle to repeat what he suggested for the conflict, potential conflict, how that gets resolved between the state code and the zoning ordinance. Would you repeat what you said before?
Yeah, I would suggest that we include a provision 8 feet or as state building code requires. So it would read minimum ceiling height a minimum of 8 feet, or as building code requires, from the floor to the ceiling in habitable rooms is required to ensure comfort and livability.
Page 28, right?
I mean, is state building code. The other thing I was going to say is, could it just be a footnote? Or you like it better in the text?
No, yeah, I like it better.
Okay, okay. So it was seconded by Mr. Buechner.
Sure.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
I think we're ready for the vote.
Who was the seconded by?
It was Mr. Buechner.
Mr. Beek, okay. And that was page what, Mr. Tagle?
28.
That was 28.
Okay.
3-1,
3-1, yeah.
3C1.
3C1.
PC1.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Buechner,
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krant.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Malala-Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
And Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
And carries.
And then I'd like Mr. Lambert to propose his
Question about the 20%.
text change.
Yes, on page 20, under, this is the third paragraph after where it says section 5.06 neighborhood nodes district, and the last sentence of that third paragraph, to strike the word respect and insert the word protect.
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Fox.
Thank you.
And I think we're ready for the vote.
Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krant.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Malala-Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
Mr. Buechner.
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Does anyone else, Ms. Malala-Holly?
Just a quick clarification. I know Commissioner Tagle talked about 3C2, which is that 20% of habitable floor area must be within access of natural light. Are we still?
I think he was just asking the question and was curious, but I'll leave
But
it to him.
did he get his answer, is
No,
my question.
I did not get an answer, but I'm all right with the language of what
You're
it is.
all right with the answer. Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any I don't want to call them clerical, but any verbiage changes to the document at this time? Okay, so we've amended maybe 6 or 7, I'm not, you'll tell us at the end.
Six.
Okay. Okay, so have we exhausted this discussion? Does anybody else want to make any suggested changes to the resolution that we are going to propose to City Council for their review and vote? Okay, so now, do we have to, we should probably restate the resolution. I believe it was Mr. Fox.
Yep.
And then you can just say I believe you can just say as amended 6 times, sorry.
Yep, as amended 6 times.
Yes.
Um,
6.
I'll read it from resolved then.
Please.
Okay. Resolved that the Planning Commission hereby recommends to the City Council that Article 5 of Chapter 39 of the Code of the City of Troy, which includes provisions related to the Neighborhood Node Zoning District, including the regulating plan, be amended as printed on the proposed zoning ordinance text amendment. Be it further resolved that the Planning Commission hereby recommends to the City Council that the proposed zoning ordinance map amendments as described in the attachment entitled Proposed Map Amendments Rezonings include a total of 90 properties, be approved as amended 6 times.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Malala-Holly. All right, I think we're ready for the vote.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krant.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Malala-Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
Yes.
Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
Mr. Buechner.
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
Yes.
Mr. Fox.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who came out for this, and we appreciate that. We're going to move on unless anybody has any issues and needs a break. Otherwise, we're going to move quickly on to the next item 6, public hearing, special use and preliminary site plan approval, SP JPLN 2024-0022, proposed Wilshire Center, north of Wilshire, east of Crooks, PIN 88-20-21-326-010, Section 21, currently zoned Big Beaver District. And Mr. Carlisle will be presenting.
Yes, thank you. For a little background, the site is located adjacent to 75 at the end of Wilshire Boulevard. An application has been submitted for a new residential development. It's a 15-acre site. It's right behind the former Magna, now NSI site, to be developed for 57 multifamily townhomes are proposed. In my many years being here with the city, we've had many proposals and ideas for this site, everything from office to hotel, et cetera. The Planning Commission has most recently seen a proposed development there which had over 200 residential units. So this is significantly less than what the Planning Commission had previously seen. We do note that access to the site will come off one point of Wilshire. We do note, and I'll spend a lot of time talking about this, that the access will require a cut and reconfiguration of a berm that exists along the northern and eastern property line. Western property line, I'm sorry. The site is zoned Big Beaver, site type A, street type C, in which residential uses are permitted. The site has a variety of uses and zoning adjacent to it. It's RT and single family to the north and to the west, and Big Beaver to the south. It includes both office uses, attached residential, and single family residential uses, as well as 75. Proposed before you is the proposed site arrangement and layout. I should note north is to the right for this picture. It's 57 units. They're split between 8 separate buildings. The buildings are set in clusters of either 6, 7, or 8 units. We also note that the site amenities, which are located adjacent to 75 along the eastern portion of the site, includes a play area, swing sets, pickleball courts, and other amenities. With regards to the natural features, the site generally slopes from west to east. We do know there's a 10-foot berm along that western property line. There is a 27-acre wetland located in the northeast corner of the site adjacent to 75. That will remain as is, and the applicant is not impacting that regulated wetland. There are 203 trees that were surveyed on site, and the applicant is proposing to preserve 109 of those protected trees. There is a berm that's a densely landscaped berm that separates the site from the residential neighborhood to the west. This berm was constructed pursuant to a deed restriction when the Magna site was developed and an agreement with the homeowners association for that neighborhood. We do note that the city is not party to that deed restriction. Site access to the site is severely limited due to the berm location and the Wilshire terminating at that connection point. Prior development concepts with this current applicant did try to contemplate working with the NSI to reconfigure their parking lot to provide access without having to affect the berm. We do note that the applicant worked diligently with NSI to have this happen. The deal fell through and they weren't able to move that proposal forward. Since that time, the applicant was not able to switch land with NSI. They did come up with an alternative proposal, which would require them to cut into this berm to provide access. The applicant has worked diligently, as far as we know, with the HOA to identify access to the site with cutting the berm, but allow minimizing the impacts of the berm as much as possible. So with regards to the berm, one of the things we asked the applicant for was additional detail about the visual impact of removing a portion of the berm and how that would impact the adjacent neighbors. And so they gave us 2 site profiles shown above. We note that there are 111 trees on the berm that will be removed. 25 of those trees are invasive. And the applicant proposes to mitigate that by adding 14 additional trees, as well as they will place a conservation over the remaining berm that will remain in perpetuity to protect that berm. With regards to the actual development itself, the development, again, is developed in the Big Beaver node. It does meet all bulk requirements such as height, setbacks, et cetera. We did note in site plan that there's a boxed-in area in the rear of each unit. The applicants indicated that's a fenced-in area to provide a private rear yard. It's a little unusual. We haven't seen that in many attached townhomes, so I just want to note that for the Planning Commission's consideration. With regards to access and parking, parking is located in all the garages. All the garages have two spaces per unit. As well as the applicants provide 5 additional guest parking spaces along 75 on the eastern edge of the site. Access to the site is 1 point off of Wilshire Drive. However, there are 2-way drive traffic lanes throughout the entire development. The applicant has provided a full sidewalk connection within the development itself, as well as it connects out to the sidewalk along Wilshire to provide a pedestrian environment. The landscaping complies with all landscape requirements. With regards to screening, the applicant is screening the site with the use of the berm. There's additional planting along the northern property line, as well as the amenities are buffered by I-75. The applicant has submitted a full photometric plan. They're proposing 104 wall-mounted sites. I apologize, it's 14 pole sites, not 114. 14 pole lights. We do note that all photometrics and fixtures are compliant with the ordinance requirements. With regards to elevations, the application is designed as a contemporary, urban-inspired, single-family home attached development. The primary building materials are first-floor brick and second-floor siding. The side materials are a combination of hardy board siding and hardy board lap cement siding. This is the elevation from the front of the street, internal streets. This is the elevation at the rear of the units. You'll note the fenced-in privacy backyards. This is a rendering of the site. This is kind of taken from the northeast corner, looking down. 75's off to the bottom left of the site. The berm is toward the right top of the picture here. There are 4 standards that the Planning Commission should consider with regards to Big Beaver standards: the building orientation entrance, the ground store activation, transitional features, and site access, parking, and loading. There are 3 standards the Planning Commission should consider with regards to site plan: ensure compatibility to existing commercial districts and provide transition between land uses, incorporate recognized best architectural practices, and enhance the character, environment, and safety for pedestrians and motorists. The Planning Commission is asked to consider the tree removal from the berm, compliance with the 2 sections, the standard sections I noted. We do note that if the Planning Commission does approve the preliminary site plan, we suggest the condition that the city attorney review the proposed conservation easement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carlisle. Does anyone have any questions? Yep, we'll start with Ms. Malala-Holly.
I believe I observed this correctly, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Carlisle. There is no wall next to I-75 near this proposed development. Am I correct? I think there's a wall, but it does not extend.
Yes, there's no wall.
There's no wall, okay. And the proposed amenities are right next to I-75, correct?
It depends on what your term what right next to. That you can see in the picture here. I don't know if I can. They're in this corner of the site.
So what about the noise level then? What are we looking at in terms of decibels? How is that going to impact without having a noise barrier?
Well, it's significantly lower than 75, that location, but I wouldn't know I don't know what the noise impact would be in those amenities.
If I may, Chairperson, one more question to add to that.
Go ahead.
In this particular case, if I'm looking at the design standards here, I'm asked to look into this particular development, keeping the existing buildings in place or in mind while I make the decision. For me, this particular area is so much in opposition to what exists right now, because all of those areas are very commercial, lack of a sound barrier, noise barrier for a residential type unit is kind of not sitting well with me here. Were any thoughts given to the fact that is this a good area for residential placement as opposed to encouraging any kind of commercial only or commercial related?
Well, the site's had a number of proposed uses on there, including expansion of, the intent was originally the expansion of the Magna office building. There's been a number of different uses that have been proposed there. One of the issues that's always come up is access. And so just due to access, a commercial use would not be a good particular use for that location. We've had a lot of hotels that have been looking at that, and there's been opposition from both the planning staff as well as adjacent neighbors with regards to a proposed hotel use. In our opinion, we find a lower density residential use here to be a very appropriate use and a good use for the surrounding properties as to what could go there, which would be a much more high intensity use, as well as a much taller use could go there than what's being proposed. So a 2-story low density residential development, we think is an appropriate use for the particular area. you may or may not be surprised at how many residential units, if you go up and down the I-75 corridor or any highway corridor, how many residential uses are actually pretty close to highways. And so we don't have so much concern about that particular point of concern. Our biggest concern was to ensure that whatever goes there is supported by the adjacent properties and is not impactful on adjacent properties, and we found that the applicant's done a good job of doing that.
Mr. Savedant?
I just want to add, speaking about noise and proximity to I-75, there's two hotels here, so if you look here, not this one, but the one to the south of that. When it was first opened, I was talking to the owner, and I said, I'm really concerned about, or curious, I should say, about noise in the rooms. And he said, no, with insulation and windows, you won't even hear the traffic. And I said, seriously? And he invited me over there. So I stood in the room closest to I-75. I couldn't hear it. So I mean, you can. I'm not an architect, but just my experience with that hotel was you couldn't hear the traffic in that room.
But wouldn't commercial to residential be slightly different in terms of noise?
Well, you can ask the applicant. He's here, and he's got to sell these to owners.
Mr. Hudson?
3 questions. There is a magnificent row of pine trees on the eastern portion of this property. Are they going to remain?
All right, Mr. Hudson, are you talking about along the berm?
I suppose it's
Eastern?
along the berm, but it's separating, I think, a subdivision.
On the east?
I mean, there's a whole
That's the north.
beautiful row of pine trees.
That's north. No, that's going to remain untouched, and then they're also adding additional landscaping buffer on that northern property line.
Okay. Secondly, do all these units have an enclosed garage?
Yes, with a two-car enclosed garage.
Great. And 2, how big are these units?
1750,
All 1750?
that range.
Well, I don't understand this.
Between 16 and 18,000 square feet.
Okay, that's better. Thank you.
Mr. Lambert?
A little bit more information on the berm reconfiguration, and maybe the applicant can give more details on it, but from what I understand, they're going to remove 113 trees, but only replace them with 14 evergreens. Is that correct?
That's correct, and simply, if you look at the aerial now, they're really, once they start configuring the berm, there's no place to put any additional trees. That berm, they're going to try their best to preserve what's already existing there, and the ones that to remove, there's just not enough area to put any additional more than what they're proposing back. But I'll let the applicant explain that in more detail.
As a follow-up too, from your report, it looks like the homeowners association to the west of the property is in agreement as long as that conservation easement is placed on the berm.
That's our understanding, and I know the applicant has worked diligently with the homeowners association, and they can speak to that in more detail.
Thank you.
The HOA representative is here this evening,
Good,
too.
okay.
While we're on the topic, though, of this easement, I just want to ask also, I feel like am I incorrect that there's 2 conservation easements? One is in the open area in the back, and then one is on the berm?
Mr. Nicola can answer that.
Okay. And then in terms of the berm, the easement with the homeowners, who is overseeing that? I mean, what are we approving tonight? I mean, to me, that sounds like a legal thing that needs to be approved.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything, and I don't know, has Mr. Bovensieck been consulted about?
So we're not going to ask the applicant to prepare a detailed conservation easement without first getting input from the Planning Commission. So it's the applicant's aware that the concerns of the HOA is a conservation easement, and it's intended that if this is to move forward, that there needs to be an instrument, a conservation easement to protect the berm. At that point, the attorney will do a detailed review of the language so that it meets the intent of what the Plan Commission wants.
Okay. Okay.
We don't want to put the cart before the horse here.
So that would be part of the,
So if this were to get preliminary site plan approval this evening, it would, the next step would be final site plan approval. And before getting final site plan approval, there has to be a conservation easement that the city attorney agrees with. And I'm confident that the applicants also has worked with the HOA to ensure that it addresses their concerns.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Mr. Lambert, were you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and invite the applicant up.
The applicant, if I can get this to work.
Area Nicola, Eureka Development.
I want to close this. There's a video I want to play here.
All right.
No sound. No sound.
It's okay, you're fine, you're fine.
The music or, okay, fine.
Elevator music, obviously.
It was really good elevator music.
So good evening again. We're very excited to be here tonight in front of you for the second time in the last year and 8 months. Last time I checked, we were here, I think, almost a year and 8 months ago on the same site. It's been quite challenging for us, for the whole team. As Mr. Carlisle brought up or mentioned earlier, we were here prior on a much larger site plan that had contributions, a land swap that we were trying to work out with the tenant of the office building, NSI, currently. For various reasons, we couldn't make that site plan work through with them. I don't want to go into the details, but I think it has to do mainly with the future of that site specifically as it pertained to that tenant use. Time will tell what's going to happen with it, but as of at that point in time, that was their decision. We went back to the drawing board. We went back to the HOA to the west, which we're very grateful to work with over the past year and a half or almost 2 years now. And we kind of worked through a couple of issues. The main issue was the berm. So historically, the berm was site plan approved, and there was an easement on it that was worked out from Magna with the HOA to the west. And in terms of conserving that berm for a amount of time, I do not recall how long that would have been, but that was never our concern, because our intent was to work with the HOA and conserve the intent of the berm. What the berm did basically is that it created a buffer with the neighborhood to the west. It enabled the vegetation growth between the berm, if you see that berm where the road's going to come in, all the way to the property line, which is all that area, the densely wooded area. It created that nature to grow quickly, and it created nature, it created trees. So we wanted to make sure that we preserved it. We worked with the HOA to make sure that whatever we did to the berm, we redefined the berm height and intent. And so the effect would have been at the minimum. And we had numerous meetings, good discussions, and we were able to come up with the proposed site plan as shown. What I want to make sure that is clear, because I think there's maybe some neighbors here that have not seen this latest plan. Mr. Carlisle, could you please bring up the site plan drawing, the overall site plan that shows, do you have it? Please. because that kind of delineates the conservation area, just to get you an idea what the area is all about, because that's important for everybody to understand what we're talking about here, so. And while they're doing this, I want to make sure that it's, we worked a conservation agreement draft, a legal draft through our legal team. We've reviewed it with the HOA team, and we have an agreed draft that, of course, Ms. Dufresne will get once, or if it gets approved tonight, so then she can provide her review on that. I think there's another page, if you scroll down, please, one more. One more down.
You want the aerial, the picture?
No, you're fine. Keep going one more down. Yeah.
It's
Is there
133.
No, that's it.
3.0, please?
So I'm going up to 3.0.
Right there. You passed it. Okay. So let me show this. See, this is the lines here? This is the line here. So we have over 2.6 acres, this whole area here that's delineated. So basically, all this will be buffered, will be conserved and dedicated in perpetuity to City of Troy for the community benefit, yeah? So basically, all these neighbors here to the west will have this green, wooded, heavily wooded area be maintained here for the foreseen future. Okay? And then, in addition, this berm here that we're going to have to kind of work out a bit to try to get this access drive, this will be redefined as much as we can from an engineering standpoint. We've had meetings with engineers as well, where we maintain the intent and the height as much as possible. If you see those cross sections that we showed earlier, you know, we're not changing or we're not making the berm lower than it is currently on its state. Okay? One more point, Ms. Malala regarding the playground. So playground, we're very cognizant about the location, very challenging. Noise levels, we're very cognizant about the noise levels as it pertains to our product. So we do take care of our unit tightness as it pertains to decibel levels. So we have extra insulation, and the windows are premium windows that we use, and doors, fenestrations, and so forth. So we try to incorporate features that will make the inside quarters as much isolated from the outside noise as possible. Regarding the playground, we had a proposal initially. We would have the playground on this area of the berm. There's a high area of the berm here. And this would have been a good location, of course. We worked out, we had a meeting with HOA. HOA brought up a point which it kind of makes sense, where they thought, they've had these houses here for decades. It's a pretty quiet area, and they've had this berm here very quiet, all these trees very quiet. In their view, it says, you know what, we'll support you, and it makes sense, the development is the right development for the site, but if you could place the playground in another part of the development so we don't hear the noises of the dogs barking, that would be appreciated. And that was our idea. Then what we did is that we moved it from this area here to the area closer to the 75. That, we're trying to work with the neighbors. So, but what we did also for the noise and kind of getting a buffer, if you can scroll down to a little lower, yeah, right there. So one more page, please, one more page. Stop it. So here, we have a berm. So here we have created a berm. So we're gonna have some earth that comes out from the site development. We're gonna create this berm here. This berm will add additional noise barrier. There'll be a berm approximately 10 foot tall. We'll have some trees here as well. In the landscape plan, we'll see some trees here. So we try to buffer as much as we can, because obviously, nobody wants to see those big trucks driving on 75. So we've thought of ways to mitigate some of this. I don't know if that helps. Okay. I don't know if I missed anything. Any questions, please?
Mr. Fox?
I appreciate the indication of the berm. I think the playground, I understand kind of that portion. The rest of that southeast corner, because it does go kind of all the way back, you guys do own that, correct? Is there discussion as to what's going to potentially happen to that, or?
So currently there isn't, and we try to work out a site plan that fits the current economics. Yeah, it's a difficult site to work from an engineering standpoint, circulation standpoint, access standpoint, everything else. So at this point, we're trying to get this thing worked out up to this level. This area here, by the way, this line, there's a corner of the building right here, and it goes all the way, it's a straight line that cuts through here. This is under a drainage easement. So you cannot, you can improve it as a playground or as a road, or we cannot have structures on it. So we worked with what we could without like overextending or touching this area right here. Plus we have a wetland here in this area. What we did also is that a year and a half ago, or a year and 8 months ago, when we came up here, we got some good feedback from the commission here, and you guys wanted to have a observation area for the wetland, and we've incorporated it. So it's right here. I mean, you will see it more on the other page, but we have an observation area right here that kind of overlooks this wetland area on this spot here on the corner. And I forgot to mention that. So we try to incorporate all the feedback as much as possible when we get it.
Thank you.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it very much. I'm looking at page 134 in my packet, which is the aerial rendition of your entire development.
Sure.
And to the left edge is the wall that you have adjacent to I-75. My question is, what is stopping you from creating a whole slew of green in that area? Because right now, as I see on that picture, there are gaps in the development where potentially trees could be placed, and just create a nice green wall along with the berm that you're
May I
planning.
answer? May I answer?
Yes.
Can you please go to the landscape plan if you don't mind? Which page is it? L10?
L10?
Oh, I believe so. So we'll go from the northeast corner, and I'll walk you all the way down. I'll walk you through it, huh?
Got it.
I think this is the one. Yeah, okay. So we start at this corner. The wall, from 75, the wall stops right at this point. We cannot touch any of this. This is all wetland. We can't touch it. Here, you see this row? This row is what we added. This is a row arborvitaes lined up thick, a screening right here. In this area here, we're gonna have a large berm, 10 to 12-foot berm. So I guess we could add trees on top of a berm, but it defeats the purpose because it's gonna be very high. And you know, kids may want to use a sledding hill down the hill in the wintertime, and we thought of it, you know, it serves the purpose of the height will be there, 10 to 12 feet. So this is the area, the next area. Now, this here is our storm detention pond. So we've put in screening wherever we could, because we're the motivating party to screen that as much as possible.
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Lambert?
According to the report, you're going to remove about 113 trees and replace them with about 14 evergreens. Can you get some more trees in that site anywhere?
Yeah, so the idea is we try to densely replant the trees on the berm side, so then the neighbors here would benefit from all the screening here, yeah? So we have placed trees here, so our tree expert has done the tree placement. And you know, you don't want to get them too close. So we've placed them as densely as possible along this way here. We, in addition, if you don't mind, can you go to the page, the next page down? So with our, or up, sorry. So what happened a few weeks ago, we had Troy City Engineer, a little more, please. Right here, a little more, right there, okay, right here. So this is the access point. So the city engineer reviewed the joint where we would enter with this new access point, and he recommended this type of layout. In here, we agreed to add a number of arborvitaes that are not shown in this report because it was recently done. But here, I believe we added at least 10 arborvitaes right in this area, right over here. Evergreens, not arborvitaes, evergreens. We placed them wherever we could place them. So, and I think we do meet the ordinance as far as I remember. I don't know if yeah.
Mr. Fox?
Just talk about tree locations. Would you mind just elaborating a bit more on the trees that are at the south end of so just south of your southernmost buildings? Just
South?
past the fence. Yeah, like right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay, can you go to the landscape plan real quick, please?
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, that's okay, so.
Because I can see it.
Yeah, so there's trees here along this way. Now, there are a few of our utilities that run in this area up and down this way. So we don't want to place trees in those areas, right? So we've gotten with trees all along this way as close as possible to the curb and let's be mindful that we have these, we've tried to create this private backyard with ornamental fence to add more value, a bit more sense of home. People like those backyards. By doing that, it kind of has pushed off our tree line a bit outside. So that's the solution we came up with.
Speaking of that line right there, when I drove over there, there were some lights in the parking lot. Are those lights not going to flood onto this property? Because I don't know if it was ever considered before.
So there's lights here, good point. There's at least 280 or 240 feet distance. We're going to have trees here as well. We have not done a study of these lights because these are not ours, but based on the study we've done here, these units are fine from photometric lumens reflected on their backyards.
And also from headlights from the cars parked.
Yeah, so very good question. So just so you know, this parking lot is almost empty every day.
Yeah.
And normally, even if you get people to park here, it'd be during the day, which you never get people to park here anyways. But that's the idea why we put the row of arborvitaes here, just to screen those lights.
Okay. Mr. Tagle?
Sure.
I have a question maybe for your engineer.
Sure.
You're talking about the berm that's parallel to I-75,
Yes.
and you said it's 10 or 12 feet high?
Roughly, I can bring them up here.
The grading plan shows about 5 feet high. And I'm just wondering if you're using the spoils from the detention pond and the cutting of the berm to create that?
So I can answer you on a dirt side balance. We're going to have quite significant cuts in this site here because, when Magna built this building in the parking lot, they kind of pushed their spoils in this area here. So we will have some earth that is being moved in this area and this berm. Our last calculation is around 10 feet berm will be here at minimum on this berm here based on the dimensions. What he has called out, I'm not sure, but it will be more than 5 feet.
Well, that's what the drawings show.
Yeah, and I disagree. 7 foot? Okay, I'm sorry, 7 foot. But it'll be around 10 feet berm.
Well, I'm seeing a 705 at the top of the berm and a 700 at the toe of the berm. Well, I'm looking at it going west. So from the people's side, it's going to look like a 5-foot berm.
We should have him come to the podium.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But the
Would you
intent,
mind coming
Mr.
back?
Tagle,
is to make it 10 feet?
Yeah, 10 feet. That's the intent, and we can have it in writing, and
Okay.
we would want to have it at 10 foot. And we have the room, and we have the dirt that is going to come out of it.
Yeah, I just want to be
You're
clear.
correct.
If we're voting to approve,
You're correct.
we're hearing one thing and the drawings are saying something else, but.
I stated what I believe the project should have and will have. This is the statement, and I think this is what we're going to do.
Okay. The only other comment, when I looked at your building plans, in the location of your front door,
Yes.
it's down a corridor basically that's less than 5 feet wide and it's about 12 feet deep.
Yes.
It's like a tunnel.
Yes.
Have you considered maybe pulling the door itself closer? I mean, you could still have it covered 3 feet, 5 foot, but it should, I mean, to me, it's almost like, where's the front, we're hiding the front door, and our garage door is the calling card.
So, very good point. As you know, we've done other projects in the community that have the front porches basically at the same plane level, in terms of unit to unit to unit, adjacent units. And we've had also communities where we had the doors slightly offset, yeah. We've never had, and in Troy, we've never done a front car garage entryway. Usually it's back and front porch and the rear garages. Well, we found people that are, we did a market study, and again, nothing is perfect. Nothing can cover every demographic out there and what they like. But we found out people that would like this driveway access to a two-car garage and go in the front porch. They want to have a separation wall between the garage door entryway, and the porch. They don't want to have in the same plane or within a foot or whatever you can offset it. For various reasons, for kids, for anything else that they may have coming with the front porch. We did this study not too long ago. I mean, we came up with a plan. We thought, yes, it could have been a little closer, but this gives you that leeway. If you have a car coming out of the garage and you have kids running from the front porch, they don't see the car, at least you have enough time to kind of foresee that. We're trying to look at all worst case scenarios. That's what we came up with the design. It's not, again, you could have.
But I guess figured from a security standpoint.
Exactly.
Somebody can hide in there, go unnoticed. I mean, it's very unusual. I've never seen a front door kind of down an area less than 5 feet wide, 12 feet deep. I mean, it's, obviously you can put lights in there, but it's going to, during the day, it's going to be dark.
Actually, Village of Troy at Long Lake and Rochester has the same, believe it or not, I'm not saying, but very similar front porch on the two-story buildings set up. And they've been a great success, I believe, based on what we see with the homeowners, so.
Okay. Just an observation, I don't know that I'd call it a porch, because it's really not out in front. You know, it's kind of hidden behind, alongside the garage, but good luck with the sales.
Thank you.
Mr. Kren?
Yeah, I think you've done an incredible job with a very strange piece of land. It's really, got a lot of restrictions on what you can put in there. And I'm happy to see basically a smaller type home for people. We need that in Troy. What is the rough price point for these units?
Good question. So I mean, it's going to be based on the economics at that point in time, but these are entry-level homes that we consider for the community, that fit the community, fit the nature of this area, basically. Economically attainable to the point where they're going to be around 1,700 to 1,800 square foot homes, two-car garages, and they will be attainable to, our ballpark is lower 400s. So probably that's a starting point,
Sure.
which is very attainable for the area, for the square feet that we're offering, and the amenities and the size.
The only other thing, I mean, I like everything about it. I like the idea of the fencing, I think, as opposed to a big courtyard.
Right.
I think that gives them more home, this is our stuff. When they put flowers out or whatever in their yard, that gives them a lot of individual flexibility, because these are going to be private homes, right? They're buying these.
Right, they're buying them, yeah, for sale, yes.
Okay, so that said, the only thing that, well, I find I'd never like row housing, period, but.
I understand, I understand.
And you did some color differences, the dark grays and the whites. I'm just looking for a little more that quality look as opposed to a rubber stamp. If you look, obviously you look from the top, it looks like a bunch of integrated circuit chips all lined up. But the elevations, I think, are good. I think you could do something a little bit better. I don't know, I'm not an architect, but it's just something to differentiate as opposed to rubber stamp every fourth, fifth house. I know economics, it's smarter to do what you did, but I would just like to see some more individuality. Can you comment on that?
I can comment. First of all, on site plan orientation and layout, it is unfortunate for us developers that I think we're left in this community to work with the leftover properties that have not been developed. So they're very uniquely shaped or sized or constrained, for the matter of fact, where we're just trying to, while we're keeping in mind the aesthetics, the site plan, what the buyer would want to see, and what we're going to say, how we can make that work financially. So those two got to come together. And this is the challenge that we deal with any given day, in any given site that we work with. But we believe, based on our other communities, the features that we offer in our developments in general, they're very well received by the homeowners that buy them, and they stay there not just for 1 or 2 years, they stay there for a number of years. They grow their families in our units. So, I mean, what I can tell you is that the history of our developments shows that they're very well received. I understand, I agree with you, there could be other features. I mean, we can make them beautiful, but at the end of the day, it has to be a balanced approach, and that's what we're trying to achieve here.
Okay.
Mr. Buechner?
We've talked about the trees. I'm listening to you, and you've said we're adding trees here, we're adding trees here, we're adding trees here, but the document says 14 trees.
I'm going to bring him up.
I'm Lucas Trezinga, a civil engineer with BEA Group. One thing regarding the trees, it says, 113 trees removed from the berm, only 14 replaced, but it doesn't say also there's close to, I don't know the exact number, but, 250 to 300 trees on that berm as is. So what we're doing with the berm is there's the front side that faces the HOA and the back side. What we're doing is cutting into the back side of the berm, but generally maintaining that top of berm elevations. So the view from the HOA to the west is generally the same as what they're currently seeing. And you see all the existing trees that are currently on that west side of the berm. We put in basically as many as we could fit that would still grow on that west side of the berm.
He's asking general for all the rest of the site trees.
Oh, how many were you proposing?
The document says 14 trees, but I've heard you say we're putting it here, we're putting it here, we're putting it here, we're putting it here.
Specifically on the berm that are being replaced.
Okay.
The total amount of trees planted there's 23 large evergreen trees screening. There's 115 on the west side.
That's your planning?
No, there's 95 existing, and 20 proposed large evergreen trees on the west side. There's 41 proposed evergreen trees on the north side. On the east side, there's 22 large evergreen trees.
Gotcha, that's cool.
That's in the landscape calculations table on L1.0.
Thank you. One other detail just to speak, I play a lot of racket sports. The pickleball is going to be noisy for your people that live near there. Those of us that play know that it's very noisy. Just letting you know, I would screen it, but.
What do you recommend? What kind of screen?
I'd put some kind of, arborvitae's or something. They're super noisy.
In between the court and
and that building. It's just a detail, but
we're not, this would be.
I played a lot of racket sports. That's the noisiest sport there is.
Thank you.
Speaking about that, the amenities, on page 141 of our agenda packet, there is a page entitled Recreation, Open Space, and Landscaping, and it references pickleball, basketball, playground, pet playground, walkways, and then also like a clubhouse and things like that. So I just was wondering what you envision for that area.
Yeah, so I apologize. The report you may have some older information from the previous site plan, where we had a much larger site, 157 units of play, and we had a gym as well and included in there. This site plan is specific, and we have those called out on the site plan as it shows. We have a playground, we have racquetball court that could also be used for basketball. We could interchange them. And we also have a dog area, and we have an observation point that I showed you for the
to the wetlands.
Yeah, to wetlands.
Okay.
So those are the areas that and also, what's important also, I didn't emphasize enough, is the walkways. We have connection sidewalks that go through the sub and then connects all the way out so they can go to Troy City Center. So they're all interconnected walkways, which is, we did the assessment. You can walk over a mile if you go this way by Zen Apartments, come around, go by Yard House, come back to the pizza place in the corner, come back in.
Buddies.
Buddies, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
So if you're a walker, yeah, a mile.
And then I had a question about the back doors that are going out onto their backyards, which are like grassy areas. All of them look like there's a step down. And I just wondered, I feel like we've gotten into this issue before, like, is there gonna, I mean, there's a door and then there's no actual step. So are you providing a step or are you leaving it in case?
No, we have to, so it's a building code, so I was kind of listening to the previous conversation, the state building code prevails in the city of Troy municipality as well. So you cannot have any riser higher than 8 inches, otherwise you have to add another step, you gotta make it so then it's compatible with the building code. So we have to comply with building code. So if the elevation is off and we need to add a step, we'll add a step. If we have to add 2 more steps, we have to have hand railing so people can walk out. So we'll comply with all those as part of our building plan approval.
I guess where I'm going with it is, we've had these issues on other properties where people wanted to put either pave a patio or put a deck, and they had to get variances because there's rules about setbacks and how close it can get. These are, like, give me a ballpark of what size these backyards are. Like,
So
how many square feet are we talking?
We can tell you, it's 20 feet by 21 feet. So 20 feet by 20, it's ample size backyard, 20 by 21. And the site will be governed by the HOA bylaws, which, to answer your question, the HOA bylaws tell you if and how big you can put, if you can put a porch in there, which you can't. You just, it's a step, come out, and you have your own private area in there. And we maintain the grass, we cut everything, even inside of those fenced yards. So the HOA does, meaning in the future. So,
Individual, right?
yeah,
Everyone
it's the
takes care
HOA
of
that
their own.
manages the property, and the property management group comes in and takes care of the common elements, we call them. So that would be part of the common elements. So they couldn't per se change couldn't add a large patio per se, because it doesn't comply with the bylaws.
But you can't put a grill out there?
Yeah, you can do a grill. You just can't put a concrete platform, a large pour concrete platform that's all around the fence or right next to the fence. You can't do that.
So one company's gonna come and open up every single gate and come
Yeah,
in?
they'll have a gate. So all these ornamental fences, 4-foot fence, will have a gate where it's accessible. You get in, you cut the grass, move out. A gate, just like a normal small gate. You go in from each one of the units. So the people can also come in, it's all these fences here will have a small gate right here. Each unit will have a small gate, so you can open and get in and
What about the ones in the middle, though?
same thing. So basically, this is a common element. Even though this unit is using it, we'll have gates that go from here to here to here to here to go.
Side gates?
Yeah, side gates, yeah. We'll go side gate through the front unit, and you service the grass.
Okay.
It's maintenance-free lifestyle. So people don't want to cut their grass no more, and that's what we can offer you. We're gonna cut
Okay.
the grass.
Okay, and then, you asked her the other one, okay. Ms. Malala Holly.
This may be more a question for Mr. Carlisle. I'm on page 101, and under parking, there is barrier-free, and it says required 1 space, provided 1 spaces. Compliance does not comply. And there's a note there saying the applicant has not provided any barrier-free spaces.
Yeah.
Can you clarify that for me?
This
please?
was a previous review, so they did comply with the required amount of barrier parking.
We
so.
updated it.
Okay.
We updated it.
All right, I think we're gonna go ahead and have our public comment part of the, well, this is a public hearing, so we're gonna start that right now. Thank you very much. Okay, same rules apply if you were here for the first one. Come in, come up, make sure you sign in, introduce yourself, then we'll start the 3 minutes. You don't need to take up all the 3 minutes, but you have up to 3 minutes, and you're here to talk about this item. Yes,
If someone did sign in the first time, they would need to sign in a second time, correct?
It would be helpful to me.
It would be helpful. So if you did speak on the previous item, please sign in again.
okay.
Sorry, I just wanted
Good evening. Once again, my name is Vinay Kotigi, and I am on the north side of this property. I have a couple of questions. One, our wall is directly on the north side of this property. Is there enough gap that has been left between the wall and the trees and the houses that are being built? Number one. And also, this is one of the concerns that our residents brought up during our internal discussions, that like ours is a private property and we have a private road within the community. So that is not being opened up for this property that is being developed. So these are my two concerns.
And just to be clear, you're talking about the north side of the
North
property?
side, we are Wattle Creeks.
And you're wondering about whether there's going to be a connecting road into your neighborhood, and also whether there's enough space for a wall and trees?
If there is enough space between the wall of our community.
Oh, there is a wall?
Yeah.
Okay, right, there is a wall.
Yep.
And to put the trees, okay, thank you. When we're done with the public hearing, we'll address those concerns. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You got that, Mr. Savana? Okay.
I live in the same community. I mean, it's a beautiful plan. It's nicely done. And same question is on the west side. I see that HOA has taken a right action at a right time. So they were able to get so much of a buffer space. And I don't know, I live on the north side, whether we didn't involve upfront to have a similar buffer space, or it is just that, that's okay to, have the gap between the two buildings, because from the wall, within 10 feet, the patio starts of the other unit. So we have 182 units in that. On the north side of the wall, I would say we have 15 units. It's a 15 units abutting to the north side of the wall, and the patio is 10 feet away from the wall. So all you planners, I just wanted to know to make sure that we have enough buffer space so that when that comes up, they don't show each other and lose the privacy of both sides. I just wanted to understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Savana, you got that?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Dana F. State, and I am located, my property is west of this planned improvement. I'm at 3370 Murnau Drive, Troy, Michigan. I am writing as a concerned resident of Troy regarding the proposed 57-unit condominium development at Wildshire Meadows. While I understand the need for thoughtful residential growth, the current proposal raises significant concerns regarding neighborhood character, environmental integrity, and infrastructure capacity. As a resident who will be directly impacted by the new access road and increased density, I formally request that the following points be addressed and documented in the public record. Number one, noise mitigation and residential repose. As it was mentioned, there is an additional road that has been added to the development that will service 57 units, families, which can total to 140 vehicles that are driving on that road. And then during the rush hours, in addition to delivery trucks, maintenance, whatever that may be. So that's an additional noise impact. So I request a formal noise impact study for the properties abutting the new access road. And then will the projected decibel levels remain below the 65 dBA as in the ordinance chapter 88 and zoning article 5? And then what is the projected increase in decibel levels during peak morning and evening hours compared to the current ambient noise? Given the density of the 57 units, what permanent sound attenuation structures will be required to shield existing homes from the increased tire whine and then engine noise? Since the new condos are multi-story, the buildings themselves can act as canyons, bouncing road noise back towards our property rather than letting it dissipate. Will the City of Troy Engineering Department be monitoring decibel levels during the infrastructure phase? I'm specifically concerned about the grading of the new road and whether noise dampening buffers will be installed before the main road construction begins. Tree preservation, number 2, tree preservation and natural buffers. Our mature tree canopy is a vital community asset, and Troy landscaping standards required to be rigorous. How many protected trees are going to be removed, and then and then those that are removed, are they going to be added back in the same positions? The second, what specific drip line fencing will be enforced to prevent root compacting during the construction of the new road? I request that any lost canopy be replaced with mature evergreens to ensure year-round noise and visual screening. School capacity and pedestrian safety.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but thank you for, we were following along and we did receive this in advance of the meeting, so we've looked at it. But thank you, I appreciate you being here.
I think I forgot to introduce myself last time. Trying to get my back to straighten out. This usually takes a lot of concentration. Mary Ellen Barden. I think you all know me, though. Well, I recognize that reducing the proposal by 99 units is an improvement. This development remains too dense. The original plan was obscenely overused of the property, and even in its revised form, it still places too many people in a fragile environment. The presence of wetlands alone should require a more cautious approach. No matter how many agreements are signed, there is no realistic way to guarantee long-term adherence in a way that fully protects the wetlands. Once environmental damage occurs, it cannot simply be undone. I am also concerned that the designated open space was configured primarily to avoid triggering a wetlands permit rather than to genuinely protect the land. What happened to single-family homes in Troy? That type of development would significantly reduce the number of residents, traffic, and overall pressure near the wetlands. It is not Troy's responsibility to single-handedly resolve the housing crisis. Many residents would support a return to a thoughtful single-family development across Troy. If this plan unfortunately moves forward, I strongly urge to prohibit tree removal. Once tree clearing begins, oversight becomes difficult. As the saying goes, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Once trees are cut down, it's too late. Marking trees have not always protected those that were not supposed to be removed. Although fines exist for violations, they are not always effective or an effective deterrent. For some developers, penalties can become just another cost of doing business and allows them to move more quickly towards completion and sales. That is not an acceptable safeguard for a sensitive site like this. Finally, I understand surrounding homeowners have concern about modification to the existing berm. Long-term residents deserve to preserve the character and environment that they invested in when they purchased their home. I urge you to prioritize environment protection through thoughtful density and the long-term integrity of the community over short-term development pressure. I, as you know, live with a berm, and it's already short, and it's already not really quite enough, but it is what we have. So to take away their protection is a big red flag for me.
Thank you.
My name is Mark Dudlebs. I live at 830 Muir Drive. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the history of this parcel. 25 years ago, when Magna originally developed it, our homeowners association entered into an agreement with them to protect this area. A landscape berm was part of the land use agreement. In fact, it was zoned environmental protection. So we thought, good job. Then the city rezoned it Big Beaver. So the environmental protection was mute. Further, Magna divided the parcel into three properties. In the south, they developed the hotels. They retained the middle piece for themselves, and they created this crazy, irregularly shaped parcel in the north, which is landlocked, by the way, and sold it. The property owner there has attempted several developments. Some of them were very intense. Some of them utilizing the entire parcel for development. Some of them proposing 5-story hotels. One of them even threatened to bulldoze the berm. I compliment Eureka on their willingness to work with us and come up with a development that, in spite of the other difficulties, I think they've done a remarkable job in protecting the berm. Right? And agreed to a conservation easement that would protect the environmental protection that was left of the berm for perpetuity. And considering all the potential uses for this property, I personally think this is probably the best use for the property for us. Somebody's going to build something there someday. And of all the proposals we've seen, this is the least invasive, the least impact to the berm, and it's something that I think that I would support.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ahmed Tariq. I live just behind the wall where the proposed structure is coming. I bought a house last year, only I moved. One of the main attraction for me is that, and the neighbors in the same lane, there is a lot of well-grown trees behind our backyard, and it's more privacy. And we didn't thought this much soon a proposed design will come here. And there are well matured trees, and we see a lot of animals like deers, coyotes. It's a very well natural preserved place. And the berm they talked about the other side, but there is a very well naturally built berm which protects the noise coming from the I-75 to the entire community. So the backyard of the proposed structure is all the thick berms are there right now. So once they are gone, the backyards of the proposed buildings, the noise is going to directly hit to the entire community. I don't know what is the proposed plan for protecting the noise reaching our backyards or the proposed buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak on this? Can you come to the microphone? Yep. No, do you agree with him? Yes. Okay, if you could just record that we had. Okay, everyone here who has concerns? Okay.
14?
13?
I got 15.
14.
13, 14. Oh, 15, we got a hand waving.
Oh.
I got 15.
Oh, we got 16, we got another hand waving in the back with the lovely purple hat.
Okay, thank you.
16.
16 people are concerned. Yep.
17, I think I counted you.
I think I
got
counted
you
you
with the red sleeve.
Yeah.
Okay, and the homeowner who I believe is the head of the homeowner association on the west, is in favor. Okay, so if anyone else wants to speak at this time, now's the time. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing.
Do we want to take a vote on the other concerns that the north residents just put in?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Want to take in a show of hands for the other concerns that we put in?
Well, we took a vote on the people who are concerned with this project, because this is the one we're talking about right now.
So for all the concerns, it's 17 people, that's what you're concerned.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. We're going to turn it back to public, to planning commission discussion. Does anyone want to put a resolution out there so we can begin our discussions? Ms. Malala Holly?
Yeah. Need a minute to locate it. Give me 1 second.
Page 93.
Sorry, what did you say?
93. No, you're good. Big packet.
Okay. It is resolved that special use approval and preliminary site approval pursuant to Articles 8 and 9 of the zoning ordinance as requested for the proposed Wilshire Center, north side of Wilshire, east of Crooks, PIN 88-20-21-326-010, Section 21, currently zoned BB, Big Beaver zoning district, be approved for the following reasons. 1, the application is compatible with adjacent uses. 2, the application is compatible with the master plan. 3, the application does not negatively impact traffic in the area. 4, the application does not negatively impact public services. 5, the application is compliant with zoning ordinance standards. And 6, the application does not negatively impact natural features. Be it finally resolved, approval shall be subject to the following conditions: a conservation easement for the area between the development and single-family residential neighborhood to be prepared and recorded prior to the final site plan approval, subject to review and approval of the city attorney.
Second.
Mr. Fox seconded. Okay, discussion.
I know there was a number of concerns Mr. Savinant was recording.
So to the property to the north, there's a question about separation of, from their development to this development, and there's particularly that wall. There's a 54-foot setback from the edge of the building to their property line. That's a pretty significant setback for this type of product, especially since it's only 2 stories. In addition to that setback, the applicant is going to maintain a pretty significant amount of trees that are adjacent to the wall on his property side. In addition, shown on the landscape plan, he's supplementing that with additional tree screening between the edge of his building and the existing trees that are there. So it's 54 feet with landscaping and additional landscaping screening being planted as well.
Okay.
With regards to the connection, Old Creek Road dead ends into this property. There's no connection to Old Creek Drive from this property. Old Creek Drive will remain as is and stay as is. There's a lot of discussion about a noise impact study. That was not a requirement that we had felt was necessary for this particular development, especially it's really low density in its proximity to I-75. We didn't feel that a noise study was necessary. The issue of density came up. Just to put that in terms of what that means, the site is 15 acres in total. The applicant is proposing 57 units. If you break that down, it's approximately 3.8 units an acre. That's an equivalent density to an R1C or an R1B equivalent zoning in this city. What they're doing, instead of having them spread out between 15,000 square foot lots, they're putting them all together and connected in a smaller area. So the number of units is comparable to what you see in a pretty traditional single-family detached subdivision in Troy. They're just doing it where they're clumping them together and having more open space surrounding the property. Were there any other?
I think there was a question about tree preservation. I think the applicant went to great lengths to talk about his plans for the berm and for preserving trees and for adding more trees. I don't think I need to repeat what he said.
Correct, I agree. Okay, Mr. Fox?
I know came up in a written comment. I know we've discussed this before in the time that I've been here, noise regulation during the construction process. I know that the city doesn't necessarily go out there with like decibel readers or anything like that, but I know we also don't just ignore it if they're being excessively loud. Would you mind?
So developers have the right to construct when they go through the process like this. There's an ordinance that says that they can only undertake construction activities between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. If they want to exceed that, they need permission from the engineering department, which is rarely given. There's going to be noise during construction.
Okay.
But once it's completed, this is a transitional use.
Okay.
It's a residential use.
Ms. Malala Holly?
You go ahead.
Thank you. I'm just asking this question out of curiosity, I guess. The fact that the rear yards will have a gate opening so the landscaping folks can come in and go out of, is that something that we have seen before? I don't know whether I have heard about anything like that where landscaping is maintained. Your yard is being maintained by somebody who has access to your yard through a gate. It's usually, we don't have any gates around our landscape. So I'm just curious how this is.
Put myself through college cutting grass, and I dealt with this situation all the time. I've seen it before.
Okay.
I was on a weed whacker.
Mr. Biegner?
We're all citizens of Troy as well. I'll speak for myself. We're listening to everybody in the crowd. I think the gentleman in the back talking about it could be a lot of other things that could be a lot worse. I don't remember his exact words, but it's a better plan than many that have been seen. And I'm a numbers guy, and you're supposed to have 15% minimum green space. They have 74% green space. I'm in favor.
Mr. Lambert?
Just and also to echo Mr. Biegner's comments, the president of the Homeowners Association commented, and I'm sure Mr. Savanen is aware of several times proposals for the site have come up in front of either planning commission or city council, and they've been shot down because they've been too dense for the site. So I would agree with his comments that this is probably the best solution you're going to get for this site here.
And I would add that I actually think it's a very nice site. I think it's very well done, and I appreciate that you made it less dense. Anyone else? Okay, so we make sure that we've reviewed, I know they were read into the resolution in terms of all of the standards that need to be met. So make sure everyone is clear on that before we do the vote. Okay, I think we're ready.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Yes.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Biegner?
Yes.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So now we're at public comment for items on the agenda. If anyone didn't have an opportunity to speak yet and needs to speak, please come up now.
I can't believe.
Okay. See no one, we're going to move on to Planning Commission comment. I'm going to start with Ms. Malala Holly.
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Mr. Biegner? Mr. Hudson?
We've spent 2 years under the leadership of Ben and Brent on this node phenomenon. And I want you to know, you have my accolades. You have done a yeoman's job on this, and I think I got a better understanding now of how all this works, but I'm willing to learn more.
Mr. Faison?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Lambert?
Just first to follow up Mr. Hudson's comments, compliments to our planning consultant and staff for all the hard work. I think it's longer than 2 years. I think we started before the pandemic. We started talking about revising the neighborhood nodes zoning. So compliments to staff and all your work. And also for Ms. Malahali, I have gone to Patel Brothers too, so. It's not just Indian people.
Time corrected. Mr. Fox?
Yeah, you guys have been working on this since before I lived in the city of Troy. So great job from you guys for all the work you put into this.
Yes,
Agree?
yeah, absolutely agree. Ditto on their comments to your great work. Second, thank you, John, for going through that whole list of things in the proposal. I think you did a super job on that, and it really, I think you were the only one to really do that, this whole thing, to go word by word and look for wordsmithing. I just appreciate that detail. And last of all, it's the next webinar you can all be viewing. It's called Making Renewables Add Up. It's a virtual again. It's provided by MAP, the Michigan Association for Planning. And bottom line, it's Thursday, March 5th. That's a week and a couple days from now, from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. So it's an hour and a half. If you're interested in all about making renewables profitable for your municipality, I strongly suggest you tune in.
Thank you. Mr. Tagle?
I'm good, thanks.
Ms. Dufresne? I'm all set. Mr. Savinant?
If anyone watched City Council last night, Carlisle Wortman's contract was extended for 3 more years, so you got to tolerate this guy for a little bit longer. And also, Mr. Fox is reappointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Congratulations. Mr. Carlisle?
Well, it looks like you're stuck with me for a little longer. And also, I want to thank you for your kind words. It really was a team effort, so thank you.
All right, yeah. I mean, I guess I went last, but I was going to echo the sentiment that was already conveyed, and this meeting went long enough, so good night.
Thank you. I'll say, it's a good thing I don't have to wake up for early morning meeting.